Hey, let's start the show.
It's March 1st, 2012. Welcome to This Is Only Test, the official podcast of Tested.com. I'm Will Smith, returning after a prolonged illness. Hey, Norm Chan, how you doing?
I'm doing okay.
You look healthy still?
I actually was a little sick yesterday when I got home, and I took 2 packets of Emergency and then went straight to bed.
That's a good idea.
I took a nap.
And then I talked to you at 11 o'clock.
Yes, and I got back up at 8 o'clock and then went back to sleep at 2 o'clock.
I went home yesterday at like 3 o'clock after shooting a couple episodes of Bricked and literally went to sleep until like 6:30 or 7 and then got up, and then got up and watched the third Aliens movie. Gary, how you doing? You're sitting across in your accustomed position.
This is my accustomed position. That's correct.
I'm going to do the Jeff Gerstmann thing and just give you the stare the entire time, the death stare.
That's what he does.
That's
right?
what he does to Ryan.
Yeah.
Just death stare.
I don't like it.
No.
This is what we noticed.
Over old material.
Yeah.
Old material. It's new to me.
Keep it fresh.
So let's see. A bunch of stuff has happened this week.
You didn't ask me how I was.
Oh, how are you doing, Gary?
I've actually been a bit stuffy.
Really? I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No,
it's not my fault.
Getting sick.
No, and it's. I think it's Leah's not been well, and I may have.
She's been super sick, right?
She's been pretty. Something's going around. I don't know if it's the same thing, but it's that time of year, where everyone's got something.
And, cold. The rain's starting to come.
Oh God!
You got bacterial infections.
Yeah, we had a contagion
viral
moment.
infections.
Tis the season.
Have you ever had a flu test where they test you to see what strain of influenza you have?
No, I heard about that. I was watching Bricked this morning, and I was hearing about sticking things up your nose.
So
It doesn't sound good at all.
They take a thing that's like
you know what?
long
Can we not?
and straight up the nose until it hits the brain. It feels like
Yeah,
it really was unpleasant.
I don't know. I think your doctor
I
might
had a
have
hook
just
to
been,
that, and you might have been mummified.
I think you might have just been
there was
fucking with you.
a little curvy brush thing on the end.
Oh yeah, I don't like that.
It looked like embalming tools from Skyrim.
I can't even have the tongue depressor. Like I retch.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just a big baby about everything.
Wow.
I got to go get a shot in the next couple of weeks. I'm not thrilled about that either.
It's the
Why do you have to
man
get a shot?
cold.
It's a pertussis, whatever they call it,
the
DTaP
whooping cough and all
booster.
that
Yeah, it's
stuff?
for the kid. I
Okay.
got to make sure I don't give the kid anything.
Wow, so you have to get shots to the
I
kid.
have to get stuck with a needle now.
Damn.
If I
It's
didn't
like
know
going
it-
into the jungle. When an explorer goes in the jungle, you get all the immunity shots.
Yeah.
That's what having a kid is like.
All this stuff is why Santorum
great adventure.
is so
I
anti-sex.
had no idea there was so much. Yeah, I know. Santorum's maybe onto something.
Yeah, if you had known that you had to get shots and you buy all this Lego and stuff, you probably would have never had a kid in the first place.
Maybe.
Well, the more you
No,
know.
that's not true. It's all going to be great.
That's good. That's good. So let's see. Mobile World Congress was this week. That's
welcome, Will.
Yeah, wait.
hi.
Welcome back, Will.
Yeah.
Hi.
Do you want to talk about what did you think of last week's podcast without you?
I watched the first probably 45 minutes or an hour. I thought you guys did a very nice job. I thought it
But
was
He was in the chat.
but
He was
not
watching live.
not enough to keep your attention throughout.
well, I had to go to the doctor.
Oh, okay.
Like literally, I was watching and then I left and got in the car and went to the
Okay.
doctor.
Okay.
And that drive to the doctor's office when you're sick, that's the longest drive of all. It's you get the car.
Yeah, I know what the longest drive of all is.
well, okay.
And the drive to the doctor is not the longest drive
The
of
drive
all.
back from Vegas. It's second only to the drive back from
Well,
Vegas.
sure. Yes, that's the longest drive of all.
We're not going to talk about going to the vet for the last time.
But you sound pretty good. Like you're on the upswing now, are you?
Yeah, I'm in the part. So they think that I had the same bacterial infection that causes like walking pneumonia and respiratory infections and all that stuff.
Wow. Walking pneumonia.
Yeah, Leah's had that.
I like that.
It's bad. No,
Yeah,
you
it's
don't
like- no,
like
it's
it.
real-
It's bad.
the sound
news.
of it.
This is why I'm leaving at 3:00 today.
Oh, my
right? Is
God.
that I have to stay rested, and if I get run down, then I'm going to get really sick and end up in the hospital and die like Jim Henson. So yeah, it was a weird week.
You only came back yesterday. You're out for almost a full week.
People don't know because we shoot some stuff in advance, so there's usually a buffer. Right now, we don't have any buffer. We've used all of that.
It's good to see it back up though.
Well, I mean on everything. On,
Oh, yeah,
on
all your
Amazing
content.
Cast. We had no video last week.
Yeah.
except
No
for-
apps.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I was out starting last Tuesday, so we were off on President's Day, which was a really good thing. Because if I'd come in on President's Day, I probably would have infected the entire office. And was out all last week, and then Monday and Tuesday of this week, and came in for a couple hours yesterday, and probably do the same today. But feeling a lot better. So I'm sure
everyone out there in the tested universe is glad to see you back.
Yeah, it was really nice. I mean, people. I got a ton of well wishes every day on Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff. So it was really nice to hear from people, and it helped. So I appreciate it.
All right.
But feeling a little bit better now. Voice is back at least, which is a good thing. And let's talk about Mobile World Congress because it's the big news this week. Well,
Okay.
it's one of the. This was a huge. We've had a bunch of quiet news weeks for the last couple months.
I think we're all waiting for news to hit, and it all came at the end of February, beginning of
As
March.
it always does.
Yeah, now here comes the avalanche of stuff.
So Mobile World Congress is in Barcelona, right?
It is in Barcelona.
It's a beautiful city. Have you ever been to Barcelona?
I have
Norm?
been to Barcelona.
See, I've never been. I've always wanted to go. Gary?
No, but this is the big trade show for cell phones and mobile devices.
Yeah, this is
right?
what CES aspires to be.
Oh,
so
really?
This is literally
Well, it's what CS has become, or it's what
CS is
everyone's-
aspiring to become.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's
This is
relatively
actually
new.
bigger than CES.
No. It's just for cell phones.
it's just
though.
for cell phones and tablets.
Then why is CES aspiring to become
Because
it?
that's where the money
in
is.
terms of relevance.
Okay.
Yeah, because nobody gives a shit about microwave ovens anymore.
Oh, CES is trying to reposition itself as a place to bring your mobile devices.
Exactly.
Right.
As opposed
Exactly.
to fridges.
Yeah, and imagine a world. So Mobile World Congress has become the Android and Windows Phone 7 show, it seems like. A bunch of...
Well, sure, because those are the only two games in town that aren't BlackBerry, which is basically moribund, and
I think-
Apple, which does its own thing.
Yeah, I think BlackBerry was there too, but I don't think they had any news.
Okay.
Yeah, so a ton of Android announcements. This is when we saw the first non-Nexus ice cream sandwich phones for the most part. HTC, LG, Sony... I have a big list. Samsung, a bunch of different phones. I didn't see a lot of tablets announced, actually, though.
Yeah, Samsung had a bunch of tablets announced.
Samsung had... Samsung. Let's talk about the things that weren't announced first. Samsung didn't announce that the 2048 by 1536...
2560 by 1600
2560...
by 1600.
Really? It was supposed to be that high?
Yep.
I thought it was supposed to be
Nope.
a double... Oh, wow, okay. So they didn't announce that. So no quad resolution
Yeah, so
or whatever.
Boy Genius Report basically multiple times said that they not only predicted that this tablet was going to be announced at Mobile World Congress, they had seen it. They had seen it, and we had seen panels. I mean, this panel has been on display at technology conferences, display technology
a
conferences.
10-inch.
A 10-inch display, 10.1-inch display with a 2560 by 1600 pixel resolution.
That's
It is
crazy.
it is a it's not an IPS display, it's a pentile display.
Of course.
That's the resolution that we currently have on 30-inch monitors, down to 10 inches. I've only seen video of this, and of course, video.
Yeah, I
doesn't
mean,
do it
that's higher than
justice.
my 27-inch iMac,
Yes,
which is
exactly.
crazy high
on a
res.
10-inch screen. And Samsung has that panel, but they did not announce any tablet with that panel on it at Mobile World Congress, contrary to all the rumors. What they did announce, though, was the Galaxy Tab 2, which is basically the Galaxy Tab 10.1, little bit aesthetic changes, so they're not gonna, they're not gonna get sued by Apple, possibly, and also ice cream sandwich. Basically, that's
Yeah, ice cream
difference.
sandwich. Well, and proving that Android handset manufacturers really have not learned their lesson at all. Everybody also took advantage of MWC to announce their customized skins for ice cream sandwich.
Yes.
So,
So
Sense 4.0, LG has a thing. I don't think Sony did. Sony
So
didn't announce
that
anything.
trend is still very much continuing.
Oh, yeah.
Google creates potentially a fantastic OS,
Yeah.
potentially naked OS,
Yeah.
and companies can't resist putting their own stuff on top of it to gum up
thin
the
layer
works.
of filth on
Yeah.
top of Google's delicious ice cream sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that stuff's kind of a bummer.
It's like eating a delicious ice cream sandwich, except you're not allowed to take the wrapper off. Like you have to eat the paper wrapper around
Well,
it.
but those are
and that
those
kind
are-
of fucks up the whole experience.
those are compostable now, so it's probably okay. They're made
Yeah,
of
it doesn't- yeah, but-
potatoes or something, right?
okay, but I
What do you
still don't want to eat it.
Why do you hate the environment, Gary?
Well, I'll compost it. I just don't want to compost it through my digestive system.
Well, that's the most effective composting of all.
All right, let's move on.
Google teased the next version of Android is
No,
going to be
I'm
called
shaking his
Jelly Bean. Jelly Bean.
I missed last week.
I can leave if you guys
I'm
want.
feeling
If you
so
want-
nostalgic.
If you want to have your little love fest in here,
Jelly Bean, is that the name of it?
they're teasing that. They
my
had an
goodness.
event. There were jelly beans everywhere.
Oh, that's what the jelly is going to be?
Giving out more lessons not learned. People don't like.
It'll be Android 5.0. Apple, you jelly?
Oh.
No,
Oh.
I don't think so.
Oh.
I mean, Jelly Bean makes sense.
You Siri Norm?
No,
Okay,
but
it's good.
I could totally see Jelly Bean.
I think
being
they should drop
next
the
name.
candy name scheme.
No.
No, it's good. I mean, it's
it's
established.
very Google.
It's established now.
We've
Yeah,
moved
it's
beyond.
colorful. It's whimsical. It's fun. It is very Google.
Yeah. I mean, and they could have some giant jelly bean statue on their campus with arms and legs and big eyes, googly eyes.
Yes, they could do that.
And they probably will.
I'm relatively certain it's already being built. Let's
But
see.
the thing is, Ice Cream Sandwich was announced last year. We saw the first Ice Cream Sandwich device at the end of last year, the Galaxy Nexus. And this year, we've only at March, basically, we've seen finally the first Ice Cream Sandwich devices announced. The ones that aren't made by, the ones that aren't Nexus devices.
Yeah.
So basically the trend is announce the OS, but basically have to wait a year before you actually see the hardware.
Right, because Gingerbread is just now hitting a full adoption curve over Froyo for handsets that people can actually buy today.
Didn't we talk a little while ago about how Google was going to be clamping down a little bit and getting a bit more restrictive on how people can customize their OS with these Sense layers?
Yes.
That does.
It's
doesn't
unclear
seem to
what
be,
all
that
that
doesn't
is.
seem to have
There
stopped.
was the Android, the Alliance.
The
handset alliance.
Update Alliance.
Yes, which quickly dissipated. They made promises last year at Google I/O. Everyone held hands and said they're going to update and provide timely updates, and it really hasn't happened. We had a lot of promises. I mean, the Galaxy Tabs that people bought at Costco last year will get updated to 4.0 eventually, but that will only happen after the Galaxy Tab 2 comes out, and that gets pushed as the front SKU.
Right.
Eventually being the operative word.
So what were the big stories coming out of Mobile World Congress?
So they talked about the Motorola acquisition. Google did. Andy Rubin described a firewall, and I'm air quoting that, between Android and Motorola after the acquisition. So that implies that Motorola is going to continue operating independently, doing exactly what Motorola wants, not becoming the hardware face of Google, which I think is probably important for Google if they want other people to invest in their ecosystem and their software and their market and all that stuff.
Explain that to me, though. I mean, like, we talk all the time about how one of the great advantages of Apple is that they build the hardware and the software themselves.
Yeah.
It's all one thing, and that's one of the reasons, theoretically, why they're able to make products that people like. They control the whole experience.
It makes it easier for them, maybe.
So if Google's going to make the effort and spend all the money buying a massive hardware manufacturer like Motorola, why not control it? Why not bring it all in? I mean, what's the point of buying them and just letting them operate independently?
So they bought Motorola for patents.
Okay.
And as a result, they're going to let Motorola. They don't want Motorola to build hardware for them. It seems like their hardware partner is Samsung right now. I don't know if that's how long that's going to continue, but purely Motorola was bought for patents. They don't want Motorola making Google branded hardware. It seems like.
Okay.
So
I just don't understand
it seems
that
crazy
decision
to a normal person.
Yeah.
But if you listen to podcasts where they talk about patents and stuff like that, then it makes perfect sense.
I'm going to guess that Eric Schmidt is a lot smarter at business than I am.
I would think he's a pretty smart dude.
Yeah, I bet so. Maybe I'm just too stupid to understand it.
Well,
I think that's probably generally the case.
I think that's a fair assessment. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you okay? Are we good now? Or
I feel like I'm dealing with I'm feeling like I'm dealing with a realization here.
Well,
I went from thinking that I didn't understand everyone's decisions because their decisions were so stupid.
Yeah.
Now I'm maybe realizing that all their decisions are really smart, and I'm just too stupid to understand them.
Maybe it's that the world is too stupid, so that your smart decisions make no sense in it.
It's
Maybe
like a twist at the end of a
Douglas Adams
movie.
thing.
It's like, oh my god, I was the stupid one all along.
You couldn't spot the fish.
Yeah.
I watched The Lady in the Water the other day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just Lady in the Water. I don't think there's a the.
Oh, there's no the?
Just Lady in the Water.
I was not what I was expecting, but I kind of...
Oh, you had not seen it before?
I hadn't seen it before.
I actually think it's an underrated film.
I really like a lot of it, but then it kind of lost me when the movie critic ended up being the bad guy. Or not the bad guy necessarily.
Oh, Bob Balaban?
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was a little too on the nose.
Fairy tales.
But I love the fairy tale aspect.
Paul Giamatti is just fantastic
yeah,
in everything.
everything.
You love him.
Yeah, I even like the...
He's a good villain, too.
He
He does. I mean, there's just almost nothing that he's one of those guys that I would put him in. There's nothing I could think of that I would want to write that there wouldn't be a part for him.
Isn't he like this generation Steve Buscemi?
I think he might be this. He's kind of Danny DeVito-y, but without being like the big fat guy.
No,
he
has versatility.
He has none of
Buscemi.
these things. He is Paul Giamatti. He is who he is.
Yeah,
Do you see the HBO John Adams miniseries?
No.
He's fantastic in that.
Is he John Adams?
Yes.
Oh wow. I don't.
Yeah, it's terrific. You should see it. Get it. HBO Go it, dude.
I could do that.
Well worth it.
HBO Go is coming on Xbox 360.
Is it going to work for Comcast?
April 1st. I'm not exactly sure.
April Fools! Ha ha ha!
These tangents are all over the place already. Weren't we just talking about cell phones?
Yeah.
I think so.
Google, Andy Rubin.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Whom.
I stopped doing that because you guys told me it was played.
But I just felt like it was a... Wow, you had it right there, though.
course
That's
I have it right
impressive.
there.
All right, so we have to kick back up through the layers.
Oh wait, I got to do another one then.
Okay. All right,
I think
okay.
and then okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're back in real time.
Google's doubling down on Android tablets. They've sold 12 million so far, and they feel like that underperforms the market since that's what Apple sells in like 3 hours.
What's sold 12 million?
Android tablets.
So Google's Andrew Rubin says that they've sold 12 million Android tablets.
Yes.
I am inclined to believe that.
That's true.
They don't include the Kindle Fire. That does not include the Kindle
It's
Fire.
not an Android tablet.
Right, correct. Apple has so far sold just over 50 million iPads.
With a year head start, basically.
With a year head start. I'm not walking on the street. I still have yet to see, and maybe I just don't know. No, I
see Kindle Fires on the
lots
BART.
of Kindle Fires.
Yeah.
They're definitely not BlackBerry Playbooks.
No.
I don't see Samsung Galaxy Tabs.
I've never, ever seen
I
an
saw a
Android
lot of the
tablet.
very first Galaxy Tab, the 7-inch one running Froyo.
Yeah.
Saw a bunch of those, but have never seen the thin Galaxy Tab, the 7.7s or the 10.1s.
I think that the airplanes, we aren't flying enough these days to be on airplanes too much. I think that you probably will see Android tablets on airplanes.
I haven't seen a single
'Cause that's-
Android tablet in the wild. I see iPads. I was on a plane last year where I saw like 5 different people had iPads on one flight.
And that's the best place to look for them because if you're on a plane and you're just walking down the aisle, like from the bathroom back to your seat,
when I
you
go
can see
back,
the
I
screens.
always look to see what devices people
exactly.
are using.
And I see plenty of ThinkPads, plenty of PCs, but increasingly a lot of iPads.
Yeah.
Now, if you're talking about 50 million iPads versus 12 million Android tablets sold, that's supposed to be like a 1-to-4 ratio. For every 4 iPads, you're supposed to see 1 Android tablet out there. From our experience, at least in the Bay Area and flying, that has not been the case. So I don't know where these Android tablets are.
You know, it's interesting with in the phone world. So there was the iPhone, and then Android was very fast behind that. And over the last few years, Android has really not just caught up, but I mean, I think Android is.
It's kind of back and forth.
But I mean, they have power. Basically, Android and iPhone are basically slugging it out.
Roughly equal, yeah.
So far, though, Android has not been able to parlay that into a competitive situation with tablets, and I don't see it happening either. Like I still haven't seen that killer thing or that kind of
Google's
that
gonna
tipping
make
point
their
moment
own.
where I feel like Android's going to stop. Well, that's
Right.
what it needs to be, like a Nexus tablet that we talk
They're
about.
going to do that this year. The Kindle Fire wasn't it because it was from a sales standpoint. Because
Kindle Fire is, but it's not really an Android tablet.
Right, it's not a good. It doesn't tie into Google's ecosystem. It doesn't do Google any good.
But that is by far the most successful non-iPad tablet
Single
out there.
SKU, yeah.
The
And
Fire.
I know people are going to say, okay, we see what we want to see. You're only seeing iPads because we use iPads, and that's what we recognize.
Trust me, if I saw an Android tablet, it would stick out like
I
a
would
sore
absolutely
thumb. I would
as a
see it.
person.
We've used enough Android tablets and Windows phone devices. I think 2 weeks ago I was at a restaurant and I was looking around. Everyone's on their iPhones, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw someone 3 tables away, a little kid using a Windows phone, and I recognized the menu. I'm like, that's amazing! It's a little kid using a Samsung Focus.
It's so simple. a
Yeah,
kid can use it.
I think the opposite is true. I think iPhones and iPads tend to melt into the background because they are so ubiquitous. You see something that isn't one of those,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, what's that?
Yeah.
Hey, when we're wearing Google goggles, though, this is all we're going to see.
Yeah, we're just going
We
to
won't have a choice.
Nothing but Google products. All those iPhones are going to look like Google phones. You're going to think, man, everybody's
wow,
got a
suddenly there's a
Nexus
lot
all
of
of a
Google
sudden.
phones around.
Yeah, who
and-
thought that?
Yeah, I could really go for a
Did
Diet
you guys
Coke
talk
right
about
now.
that last week?
Yeah, we talked about Google goggles.
And Gary had a good point last week was that Google will make you see. I mean, like the word lens. Remember the word lens, which could recognize words and translate them.
Mm-hmm.
Google can use that in their goggles and just block out things that.
Well, there's a Werner Vinge novel that's
advertiser.
about that.
The
Like
advertisers don't want you to
the
see.
whole thing is about that.
It's so apparent. I mean, it's the technology. All we need, the corporate desire to do it. That doesn't take much imagination to get there. We just need the only reason they're not doing it is they don't have the technology. As soon as they do, it's going to happen.
I mean, on the other hand, think about how nice it would be to have the blue line from Dead Space or Fable or something like that shows you where you should be walking.
MIT
Again,
Media Lab
there's
is doing
gonna
that
be-
already.
there's
They're
gonna
do
be-
it's a real technology. You need the goggles, but it's going to work in malls. So you're going to stand in a kiosk, you're going to press the store you want to go to, and then on your Google goggle you will have the arrows telling you where to go.
I'm telling you, if you give me that and a little drone with a wide angle camera that hovers like 10 feet above my head, so I have third person view of me walking, it's perfect. That's everything I want.
You only get one.
there
life,
are going to
though.
be great things about it, and there are going to be terrible things about it.
I want to make a third person camera. Can we try that?
Yeah, it's not that difficult.
Right, we need a pole and a camera.
I've seen people that
Yeah.
have modded those.
Use those
Goggles.
VSonic headphones. You need something with real time video output.
Yeah.
or real-time video display
Yeah.
input.
Okay, so
a couple other things.
The
for Mobile
double
World
down
Congress.
though. But what did he mean when he said they're going to double down? Does that mean they're building their own apps? Does it mean they're spending more on marketing? Does it mean they're going to make the OS and the hardware better?
I think it's all the
did
above.
they give specifics? I didn't read that
All
article.
the above. I didn't listen to the Schmidt keynote.
Okay.
But the other trends from a more broader technology perspective is that we are seeing the last generation of the A9 ARM processors and Texas Instruments, not NVIDIA yet, but Qualcomm and TI are moving toward A15s, and their next chips will be A15s.
So what's the difference between A9 and A15?
A15 is much faster.
Like more capable,
Yeah, way
or
more
higher
capable.
clocks, or
Not
more cores,
clocks.
or
Not more cores, but just different architecture.
like get more performance at the
yes.
same use power?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tegra 3, a lot of devices with Tegra 3 this year. That's still an A9 processor.
It's a quad core though, right?
That
well,
is
it's
quad
4
core.
+ 1.
So they're that is their branding for it.
Yeah.
It's one's silent core and 4 active cores. But that's still A9, and all these all this ARM stuff at the end of the year that's making its way into phones and tablets announced now will probably make its way into Windows tablets at the end of the year.
Intel announced some Medfield stuff too.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
Medfield. I always get those two mixed up.
So they did a big
Atom
roadmap.
stuff, basically. Yeah. So they say that they're going to hit 14 nanometers in 2014. So right now they're building the x86 for phone and tablet processors on a 32 nanometer process. They're saying they're going to hit 22 nanometers next year and 14 nanometers the year after that. I think the theoretical limit for silicon is around 10 nanometers, using like X-ray crystallography and all sorts of crazy. I don't know how that stuff works, but basically they can't make what this number refers to is the size of the structures on the chip, right? So the smaller the structures get, the more stuff they can pack onto the same size silicon, and
Power efficient it
And
is.
that number
right.
has been shrinking and shrinking. But
Well,
you're
Moore's
saying
law
there's a
allows
hard
it to
stop where it's not going to be
Well,
they're pretty close to, they can't go any further?
Yeah, once you get to a certain size, then there's like molecular stuff that happens where, and I could be getting this completely wrong, but where the resolution of the thing that you use to make the circuits, the light or X-ray or whatever you use to etch it, is going to be too big to actually make the circuits that you use. Or alternately, that the material that you're etching it into is like you get into the atomic size of the silicon atoms at that point.
Wow, it's pretty
Yeah.
small.
They're going to
very
overcome that with layering and doing
Yeah. So
moving to the third
and more
dimension.
complexity, more cores, and all that kind of stuff. They're also using FinFET, which is kind of new. I don't know, did you read this story? This
Nope.
was interesting, I thought. The FinFET stuff is basically right now, when you hear about like MOSFET, CMOS sensors and all that stuff, it's just a different process. And FinFET lets each transistor act as multiple gates. So this is what you're talking about with the 3D stuff, where instead of just going left and right, it can go up and down too, and things like that. It's kind of cool stuff. We should do a white paper on that. I hadn't thought about that one. Qualcomm, you saw the Qualcomm Tegra 3 controversy, right?
Kind of. They're not letting NVIDIA devices using Tegra 3 license their LTE chips.
Right. So Qualcomm has the hot LTE chipset, meaning the one that performs well, doesn't draw as much power as the competitors. Everybody wants to put that in their phones. Tegra 3 is the high-end GPU right now, CPU, GPU right now, and you're not going to be able to get a phone with both of those things in it. So phones that use Tegra are getting chipsets from Fuji and some other places, LTE chipsets from Fuji and some other places. And this is relevant because neither AT&T nor Verizon are letting manufacturers build the high-end phones with without LTE now. So if $200, $300 phones on both carriers are going to be 4G phones at this point, real 4G, not the bullshit old school AT&T HSPA plus. Do we want to talk about actual Android products? Then we'll talk about the Windows Phone 7 stuff. And
you can do a quick
Nokia's
rundown.
thing.
Just do a quick rundown on what products were announced.
Okay, so here's the
again,
phones.
These phones are not available right now.
No, these will all be varying times throughout the next year. The HTC One X is their new flagship phone. It's 4.7 inches, 720p LCD. It's about 10 millimeters thick. It comes in black and white. Interesting thing is HTC is not using the soft buttons. They're the soft buttons like the Galaxy Nexus has. They're actually using actual capacitive buttons.
How is that stacking up against the Galaxy Nexus? I mean,
hardware wise,
I'm talking because the Galaxy Nexus we consider right now to be the flagship of the Android range, right? Are we now starting to see stuff that's going to surpass that?
Well, this is HTC's flagship. That's
very comparable.
I don't care about who's
very comparable.
Okay.
Technology, like screen wise.
Well, it's smaller. It's a smaller screen because the Nexus is a much bigger screen than 4.7.
Who do you think is the best handheld Android handheld manufacturer? Like if you're going purely by the hardware company, whether it be Motorola, HTC, whatever, who do you think who do you like the
probably
best?
Samsung.
Samsung?
I mean, but only when they don't use their custom UI, because I really don't like their custom UI at all.
Right.
Galaxy Nexus is 4.65, so it's the same size.
Okay, same size. The One X is going to be Ice Cream Sandwich with Sense 4.0. So it's the HTC skin on top of the Nexus.
Okay.
The One S is the lower end version. This I think is actually kind of a more interesting phone. It's 4.3 inches, so it's the same size as the iPhone 4.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad they are catering for people.
Wait, not iPhone 4.
4.3 inches?
No, iPhone 4 is like 3.5.
Oh, 3.5 inches. Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, you're
Still
really
bigger.
sick, Will.
Yeah,
I'm glad that they are offering smaller phones and not just going all into this jumbo trend that I think not everybody wants those kind of phones.
Yeah. The S is quad core everywhere but in the US, and I think this is because of the Tegra LTE thing. I'm not sure. It's dual core in the US. Again, Ice Cream Sandwich with Sense 4, and it has the hardware buttons as well. The LG Optimus 4X HD is a 1.5 gigahertz quad core Tegra 3, 4.7 inch 720p IPS screen, Ice Cream Sandwich with LG's skin, and 3 capacitive buttons, I believe. The Xperia P has the white magic display.
What is that?
It means that there's a lot of white subpixels compared to normal IPS. I don't know if it's an IPS display. More subpixels than a normal display, though.
Okay.
So it's a brighter, kind of crisper screen, is what people said that saw it in person. QHD, so that means it's the same thing as the Atrix. I can't remember what that resolution is.
960 by 540.
Yeah, thank you. I think it has some weird dock stuff. No, wait, I'm sorry. That's the Sony one, I think. I dropped this halfway through. I didn't finish my notes. And it's going to get Ice Cream Sandwich in the middle of Q2. So that's kind of a bummer. And has NFC. So I guess that's exciting. The Galaxy Beam. Now the last two things we're going to talk about are, I think, mark the trend of kitchen sinking the Android ecosystem and putting a bunch of stupid shit into phones that no normal people want in something that needs to be as general purpose as a phone is.
Like what?
So the Galaxy Beam is a gingerbread device, 4-inch WVGA screen, 1 gigahertz dual core, and it has a 640 by 360 projector built into it.
I've got to be stupid. Explain to me how new handsets are being announced that are not even out yet, and they're going to come out with a legacy version of the operating system. It's fucking stupid.
It costs a lot of money to convert an OS to run on old hardware.
I don't give a shit. The end result for me as a consumer is this makes no sense to me.
Did you miss the part about it having a projector built in?
Oh God, I remember that they've been trying to sell that before.
So you can aim it at the wall and you can show people what you're doing. It's a dumb idea.
I don't want a projector. I just want the latest OS.
You want a phone that's good.
Yeah,
all the stupid shit on the side.
I'll take the Galaxy Nexus, thanks.
Yeah. Well, no, you're not going to take a Galaxy Nexus.
I'm saying if I'm going to have an Android phone, I'm not gonna get one with a fucking 2-year-old OS.
Well, but I mean, in fairness, the Nexus line hasn't been perfect. The Nexus S still doesn't have Ice Cream Sandwich. I mean, so that's
why I said Galaxy
I guess it has
Nexus.
On Sprint, but not
on my number one
the
consideration on it, if I were to get an Android phone, would be which ones currently run the most recent OS, and which ones are going to get the new OS first. And those are the Nexus phones.
Yeah,
but I mean,
you can't change the hardware. You can only change the software.
But you can have a projector.
Don't want it.
5 lumens.
Don't care.
5 lumens.
Don't
Gary.
care.
Think of all the things you can project with a 15 lumen projector. Sorry, it's a 15 lumen projector, not a 5 lumen projector. You could show pictures of your kid to people on the bus, except if it was a dark bus.
You could make your own bat signal.
Where am I going to project it on a bus? On the fucking ceiling?
Yeah. Floor, ceiling, the back of somebody's head.
Great.
You could do it in the subway.
Imagine a world.
You could have a little picture show in the subway as you're riding along to work.
Maybe there's a fat dude. I can project it on his belly.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be a little warped. You might not want that. You do it in the back.
You know, a
instead.
fisheye.
This is what you need: warp compensation on this projector.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, it detects the surface.
You need to have a connect.
whether it's
So it can
concave
measure
or
the
convex.
surface.
Yeah, it reads the
And all
surface and then remaps the image so it
So
appears totally straight.
Yeah,
That's
that's
exactly
what I
right.
want.
Yeah.
Give me that in the phone.
Okay, so I wasn't sure which of these were dumber, but I'm going to put the Optimus as the dumber one. So this is another one of those phone or tablet things. It's 5 inches, LTE. I think it has a stylus. I don't know if that's optional or what. But it has a 4:3 aspect ratio, and it's 5 inches.
What
So
is that? So
instead
is it
of-
like kind of square?
Instead of being 16:9,
Yeah.
it's like iPad aspect ratio.
Okay.
So it's like
But it's still built
really
as a
wide.
phone.
Right.
And it's still a phone.
Okay.
Awesome.
So you can't hold it with one hand
Because it's wide.
because it's too big. Like maybe if you're a basketball player, your palm of basketball.
You know what? My earlier fear about how I'm too stupid to understand these things.
Yeah.
I'm starting to come
You
back.
feeling
No,
okay?
other
Yeah.
people. It's other people are stupid.
Yeah.
People are dumb.
People are stupid.
See,
Pretty established.
I think the problem is that many of these manufacturers, especially the last two you mentioned, right, LG and Samsung, these are both South Korean manufacturers, and the cell phone markets there, when these companies were doing feature phones, they were accustomed to just doing
They were full of cray-cray.
many SKUs because people would buy them. They wanted phones that looked different. They didn't really care about the software. You know, as long as the phone could do their apps,
So
like the Samsung apps, in certain games and had text messaging, the kids were cool with that. In the U.S., that's not how the market works. People want, they want choice, but they want fewer. They want the best one. They want something that's unequivocally the best.
Well, and it's not like you're buying a phone, using it for 2 months, and then buying another phone like you might have in the feature phone days. Because I mean, I know that didn't happen for a lot of people, but in Asia, my understanding is that you could go into stores in Japan and South Korea and just pay $50 and get a new phone if you wanted to change to have a different looking phone, right?
Yeah, and those phones. I mean, we're talking about 10 years ago, even. We were envious of those phones. Like the kid who had I had a
Docomo.
really, really crappy Samsung phone here. And there were, again, tons of SKUs for those phones. But overseas, they had the really nice ones. And that's just not the case anymore.
Do you remember when the Matrix came out and you could get that? You couldn't get that
Nokia
phone.
It was Nokia.
Was it a Nokia?
It was Nokia.
Yeah, it
They
was
sold
a
it here,
an Australia only phone. I'm not talking about the second one. I'm talking about.
I know. Yeah, the one that had the cool flip down.
Yeah, the.
Yep. Who didn't want
Oh my
that?
God! I never
Do you
wanted
remember that
anything more.
in the Matrix when Neo gets the FedEx package?
remember those.
He opens it and he pushes the button and
Yeah.
the thing slides out.
Yeah.
When you saw that,
That was
I
a
wa-
very
I was like,
sexy phone.
Whoa!
Oh, yeah.
I want
You
that
could,
phone.
and they did make it.
They made it.
In-
They had a
in
special
Australia,
Matrix
New US.
edition phone. Yeah.
Yes, and then for the second movie,
Oh
when they
my
did
God.
Matrix 2 and 3, they had the really ugly one with
They
the
made a
ribbed
walkie-talkie.
edges, and it looked just like a walkie-talkie,
Oh.
and they sold that in the U.S. as the Matrix phone.
and sold
Yeah.
probably 8 of those.
No, I remember the one from the movie was pretty
Oh,
sweet.
the first
Yeah.
one was so cool.
Yeah, we wanted those.
I wished that if you bought that, then it just came in a manila envelope.
Yeah.
So like you'd get it, you'd open the
FedEx
package.
guy
and be like,
delivers it.
Oh. Hey, welcome to AT&T.
Yeah, and then
that would have been
and
awesome.
And then
there's
hire
Lau-
Lawrence Fishburne to
Yeah,
do the
there's
intro.
Lawrence
Yeah.
Fishburne talking you through how to set it up. Listen
Yep.
carefully.
Yeah.
I can help you, but you have to do what I say.
Climb out
First,
the window.
input your region.
yeah. Yeah. Now we set up your voicemail.
Select your preferred language.
Exactly.
They're coming for you. You have to set your time zone. Hurry. that would be.
Don't
How
throw it out
awesome
the
would that
window.
be?
I would switch to Android if that was a fucking option that I could get.
yeah.
That would be so,
So,
sweet.
There are lots of opportunities with that.
I'd be factory resetting my phone every day.
So I hesitate to ask, but what do you guys? I mean, do you think this is a good MWC? Are we just getting to a point where Android is going to be consistently new hardware, followed by long periods of boring?
It seemed like this was the MWC, given how well 2011 did for them. And if you talk to any Google employee, or Google executive, or even Android handset maker, I'm not talking about tablets, for the phones, they would say that 2011 was a very good year for Android. They had great growth rates, or activating hundreds of thousands of new Android phones a day. They didn't see any reason to change that trend. So 2012 looks like 2011 all over again.
For me, I don't get excited about new handsets very much because they do kind of feel like all much of a muchness. There's not a lot to differentiate between them. When the time in the Android calendar when I really pay attention is when Google announces a new OS.
every
'Cause that
December.
is the real driver of what makes that platform interesting. New handsets, projectors, new additional hardware manufactured wrappers that go over the OS. I really don't care. When Google announces something which really drives the platform, that to me is interesting.
The shit stops when Google comes to town. I had to open my Zojirushi because my tea that I poured in going on 3 hours ago now is still too hot to drink.
You want to share Zojirushi sob stories? I left my I had made a beautiful cup, a pot of coffee this morning from whole beans. I did it all properly.
Yeah.
Filled up the Zojirushi. I had it all ready to go, and I left and I forgot it. I left it on the kitchen counter.
Oh,
so sorry.
no.
But
you have to come here and
it'll
drink
still
our
be hot
coffee.
when
It'll
you
still
get
be
home.
hot when I get home. That's the best part.
That is the best part. I haven't had coffee yet.
Windows Phone 7.5, which they never officially called Tango, was announced at MWC.
Okay.
It's going to be out in April to existing handsets. It lowers the min spec for some phones. So it basically reduces the memory requirement. It's 256 megs now instead of 512, which I think it was before.
All right.
If you run on a phone with 256 megs, background agents don't work, and there's some other stuff that goes
Does that mean
away.
that we might see
Bing
lower
Scout.
entry points for phones?
I would assume that means we'll see some free Windows Phone 7 phones this year.
Okay, that's good.
That's
I mean,
good,
that's what
definitely.
again, that's what they need to do
Yeah.
to start getting phones into people's hands and start giving them good deals.
Background audio still works even on the cheapy phones. Bing Scout, SkyDrive auto uploads, and other background agents.
What's
like
Bing
Twitter.
Scout?
Bing Scout is a thing that looks at your geographical area and kind of tells you what stuff's around
What's
you.
around you? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm in,
Hey, we know
North
you like
Beach.
coffee, so there's a coffee shop 2 blocks away from you.
Okay, all right, that's cool.
But instead of going out to the internet and querying it, runs in the background all
All
the
right,
time.
good.
They also are updating MMS so it handles multiple pictures better, which is something that iOS is still kind of bad at.
Yeah, iOS. You can. I mean, for media attachments, iOS sucks. Like, for text messages, you can do one picture into low res picture or low res video. I never do MMS.
No.
You want your email, right?
Yeah.
But even with emails, you can only attach basically one file. You can do multiple photos with one file.
You could copy and paste and do more.
One file. If you want like one document.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
Okay.
a bummer.
It makes it working.
It's
like,
very-
professionals who
I
work on
don't
iOS aren't happy with it.
I don't think I've ever had the need to send more than one picture in a message.
I can do multiple pictures easily. I mean, it's well, not easily. You have to know how to go into the gallery and select multiple images,
Right,
and
yeah.
copy them, and then pick the right file size. I mean, a lot of different constraints.
Usually, though, when I'm using MMS to send someone a picture, which I rarely do anyway, but it's usually just something kind of fairly frivolous. I don't really care
it's
too
a
much.
picture of the dog sleeping in a funny way.
Yeah.
Harry McCracken, who used to be the editor of PC World and has been running Technologizer for 4 or 5 years now, and is a friend of the site, has been running iPad as his travel computer exclusively for the last. I think his main work computer.
I'm seeing him at press briefings, and all he has is his iPad with a keyboard.
It's like a case with a keyboard in it, right? Yeah. He said I talked to him the other day about it. He said it was going really well. Well, he's just writing and doing photos, so
That's
I mean, if you're just writing and doing photos, it's.
And
pretty,
again, I'm a very low load user as well. I
Yeah.
think I could basically survive with just an iPad, but I wouldn't love it. Again, we talked about this quote before, is you're constantly reminded of all the things that you need to wait until you can get to a real computer before you can do them.
See, I do. I almost exclusively use the iPad when I'm at home. The only time I use a computer.
So you've modified your use, your habits, so that they can accommodate the limitations of the iPad.
Not really. I mean, the thing
If
is,
the iPad did more, you don't think you'd use it in the wild more? You use it out. If the iPad
I don't
had
leave the
better
house much, Norm.
well, you're at the office at least.
Yeah.
If the iPad had better, had messaging, had actual, had good document systems.
Agreed.
Like,
I would never use
you
it for
use
work.
it at home because it's best suited for that.
Yeah, I use
So
it for
its
home because it
limitations
align
kind of-
with the way I use the internet at home.
Okay.
There are places it fails. Like I think our comment system on our sites is particularly bad on iPad. It's really hard to use. So
That's a very
I don't-
specific case.
But
so.
I'm just saying that's one of the places where it fails.
But
for
even
me.
at home, when I'm like on the couch watching TV, the things I want to do, I always feel limited by the iPad.
It's a pretty unlimited viewing device, but anytime I want to comment or share something or whatever, like that becomes more
like
difficult.
if
It's
I want
often very
IMDb,
limiting.
I want to have if I'm watching a show and I want to dive deeper into the show, whether it's IMDb or the show forums or something like that, but still have my messaging and music and stuff. Yes, I can do music and an app at the same time, but I can't do Twitter, mail. I can't multitask.
See, I use the four finger multitask swipe all the time, back and forth.
I need the ambient. I need it persistent.
Okay. Well, anyway, so yeah, that's the Windows Phone 7 stuff. There's not a huge amount of news. There weren't a lot of hardware announcements. It seemed like.
Nope. There wasn't a Windows Phone. Windows Phone 7 had a small presence, and I think that was intentional because they're kind of waiting for Windows Phone 8.
When is
I
the
think
big push going to happen that we keep hearing
Windows
about?
Phone 8.
Yeah, I think that at their developer thing this summer, the thing I went to last year where they did the Windows 8 consumer preview stuff, or
Okay.
not the consumer preview, the developer preview stuff. I think we'll see a lot more Windows Phone 8.
So
stuff there
I
to
would
go with Windows Phone
from
8.
Windows the strategy I think for Microsoft is do Windows Phone 7.5, whether it's called Tango or not, get entrenched in the low end with free phones. Do what the other what was it called the other phone that they killed Kin couldn't do, right? And then when Windows 8 comes out, and hopefully Windows 8 is a success and people adopt that, people will already be in the Windows Phone ecosystem and then get that upgraded to Windows Phone 8. And so people will all use SkyDrive, and they're all going to be
Well, that's the question. As Microsoft said, if I have a Windows Phone 7 or by the next several months, when Windows Phone 8 comes out, am I going to be able to upgrade, or am I going to need a whole new phone?
Who knows?
we don't know. Yeah, that's the one thing that's stopping people from buying the Lumia 900
because of the min spec that they have on these phones, and it's the fact it's a relatively fixed platform. I have real questions about whether Windows Phone 8 is going to be upgradable.
Okay.
Yeah. Or it may be upgradable, but there's big caveats. It's like background tasks don't work or something like that. You may lose functionality. Although it's difficult for Microsoft to push an OS that reduces functionality for an existing device holder.
So much of the way we see phones is bounded by the contract, the 2-year contract.
Well,
that's
of
how.
course. Because that's how often you can buy a new phone. For
Exactly.
Most people.
And
it
it's
sucks
still
'cause
not
2
cheap.
years is an eternity in cell phones.
It is. Or it is eternity now. Or I guess it always has been because people used to swap phones every year.
Now more so than ever, though.
No,
Yeah.
it was 2 years. I always did 2 years.
You always did 2 years with the feature phone?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you didn't care.
Sometimes longer.
Right. But it seems like more of a turn now because of all the updates, because of all the software, because it's moving really fast. The carriers are the problem. I wish there were more ways to
it's
buy
slightly simplified on
phones.
iOS, because if you always just want to pay the subsidized price, you basically would just skip every other generation or pay more and get the new phone every year. On Android, though, with so many manufacturers all operating independently, a 2-year contract, there could be a lot of new phones coming out that you feel like you can't buy into because, again, you've got that locked into a contract.
If you really want that projector phone, you're boned.
Yeah, the 4 people that are going to be into that are going to be really pissed.
I know. Nokia.
Yes, I think this is actually the coolest technology story, just from a technology perspective. That came out of Mobile
I have
World
real
Congress.
problems with it, but they're mostly due to semantics, not technology.
That's fine.
So it's a 41 megapixel sensor in one of their new Symbian phones.
It's 808.
The 808.
It's called the PureView 808.
Okay.
It does run Symbian.
So already I'm not interested.
Yep. Not for us.
Who is running Symbian these days?
People in Finland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing that's interesting about this is it uses a 41 megapixel sensor to make 5 megapixel images.
Yep.
By essentially running a super sampling algorithm, just like you do if you're doing high quality AA in the old days, where you'd render something at 4 times the size and then shrink it down. It's essentially what this sensor is doing.
Yeah. So it'll take
with live photos.
So for example, if the output image is 5 megapixels, 41 megapixels, that's 8 times the amount of sensor data that you need. So every 8 pixels gets compressed
Exactly.
into
That's exactly
1
it.
pixel. So even if you take a picture, it's a technically 41 megapixel picture, but it's grainy. Every 8, they'll take 8 pixels and find the one that isn't
And
grainy
combine them.
and combine them into
And
something
probably
that
take out
looks
the
good.
high and the low.
Yeah.
So what this does is it gives much better definition along like edges in the image. It has a lot of the same improvements, frankly, that AA does in games, but on real life rather than.
And it'll let you zoom in.
Yeah.
So
digital
having
zoom actually works.
Right.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think until it's in a phone that people actually are going to be interested in, it's a cool tech demo.
Yeah. I
What
think
they're
it's a very
doing
cool
is
tech
using
demo.
Symbian to beta test.
Well, they
and
can't.
figure out
I
their
mean,
software
it
and
would be
stuff.
awesome if they had this in Windows Phone 7 in the Lumia 900, but that software doesn't support it. They would need to
Right.
do lots of custom software, custom app, and because all the stuff in Windows Phone is tightly integrated, it just wouldn't work.
Yeah. So that's let's see. My problem with it is that they shouldn't have ever said it was a 41 megapixel sensor.
Yeah, it's big numbers. People love the
I
headline.
understand that, but what I'm saying is a 41 megapixel sensor for people who understand what it means is unwieldy and bad. Because I mean, you don't want 41 megapixel crazy noisy
I think we've
images.
established people are
Right.
stupid, and when
Yeah,
when,
they just
when,
equate
when you say
megapixels with good.
and you know what,
But that's
That
not
is-
right because you're
that
not
is
getting a
true.
41 megapixel image out of it. You're getting a 5 megapixel image.
Doesn't matter. They
Does
say
not
41
matter.
megapixels,
If
and people go, that
people
must
who
be
go
good.
to a Best Buy and see something that says 21 megapixels and 18 megapixels, if you show them two images, they would not be able to tell which one is 21 megapixels, but they'll buy it because it's higher numbers.
Like, I mean, the continued existence and profitability of Monster Cable tells you how much ignorance there is out there in the mainstream tech buying community,
Yeah.
right?
I'm sad.
Yeah.
I'm
And
sad.
you know, we want companies to buck that trend and to say, you know, screw it, we're not going to say megapixels on our boxes, and we'll say just the best picture, like printable picture quality or something, or photo, you know, real photo quality. Companies that try that go out of business, and they know immediately the second they try test a box SKU without
for-
that megapixel box, that number.
Except for Apple.
It's got what your
I mean,
pictures
they put
crave.
megapixels on, but
No, they do. Apple absolutely,
But they don't
calls out the
market other thing
megapixels.
on specs.
Apple.com/iPhone.
Photos are one of the only things that they market on specs.
Apple.com/iPhone.
You don't see a video. You don't see a commercial for an iPhone that says it has an 8 megapixel camera.
Well, no, you don't see the
You see the
commercial.
commercial
No.
says it has the
No.
best camera you've ever seen in a phone.
Yes, but
I mean, that's the point.
dual core A5 chip, all new
You're-
8 megapixel camera and optics, and Siri.
Yeah, but there's no clock speeds.
Yeah, of course there's no clock speeds. I'm not talking about clock speeds. I'm talking about megapixels for cameras. That's
Okay.
that's still something that. people
Okay.
are
You're right. I'm
fixated on.
wrong. I don't care. Windows 8 Consumer Preview came out this week. This is big news. I
It's
installed it
probably the biggest
yesterday.
news this week.
I think. Boy, nice job, Chan. I was trying to avoid that, but yeah, I think that this is the big thing. This is following on the success of the Windows 7 beta. They had 500,000 people, I think, download the Windows 7 beta, and as a result, Windows 7 launched in a much more successful.
That
Only
Windows 7,
500,000?
that Windows
Wait,
7
hold on.
beta,
Way more than that.
that Windows 7 beta
Yeah.
bricked my PC. That was the turning point. That's when
The
I
one that
became
Greg built for you?
can't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
I think it was the last one you built actually.
No, it was the one that Greg built, and then I came in and fixed, I think.
I don't remember, but it bricked my. And that was the turning point. That's when I became a Mac user.
So
Yeah.
the bit of a history lesson, right? In 2009,
You should never be running beta software, just for the record.
Gary, you really
You are
should.
the least likely person to run. Like it just anytime you think, oh, I should install this beta software, just don't do it.
I know, and the problem
Do
is I'm a
yourself a
sucker
favor.
for always wanting to have. I always want to have the latest version, but these days I am much more beta averse. I'm
Yeah,
like,
no,
get
don't.
this to me when it's done.
Well,
Don't
in
do
some
it.
cases of software, I don't want to have the latest version because I know I've been burned so many times with like IM clients or zip software.
I really
right?
like Photoshop CS4.
Yeah,
I know how to
I
use
like
it.
something. If I like using it,
Yeah.
I don't want to pay for the newest version. I don't want
Yeah.
all the new ads
Yeah.
that are built in the new version of Skype, new UI stuff. The version I have works. Stick with that. That's why like oldversion.com is really useful.
Yeah,
Oh, I hadn't
sometimes
seen- I hadn't
sometimes
heard
you
about
want
that.
to.
That's
Sometimes
good.
you have upgrade remorse and you want to roll back.
Yeah. I wish I could get Chrome 7, but it's just gone.
No, Chrome, you don't have the choice.
I'm kidding.
So
okay, so
in
you-
2009,
Yeah, 2009.
The
distant
at
past.
CES, Microsoft kind of surprised everyone. Steve Ballmer came out and surprised everyone by saying, "Hey, Windows 7, not Windows Phone, Windows 7, the beta is going to be available tonight
Yeah.
for anyone to download and try out."
And every journalist in the audience groaned
Why
Why?
did they groan?
because then they knew that their night was ruined.
Oh, they have to spend all. They can't go drinking.
It was fun.
They've got to play with Windows 7.
And there were a bunch of caveats. You know, it was still beta software. They had the beta fish background, and if you installed it, there was no. It wasn't going to be supported after Windows 7 came out. Like, you couldn't.
It's basically a free demo.
It's but it was
also
free.
a beta.
Yes, and it was beta. You're helping Microsoft beta test the
And
software.
in fairness, it's Microsoft trapping you because once you've used that for a while, you're not going to want to go back. You're definitely not going to want to go back to Vista.
Yep.
But even going back to XP without kind of search built in and all that stuff was very difficult.
Yeah,
Right.
it was
It was a good
very,
experience.
very smart beta. Good for everyone involved. We use it as our primary OS on our home PCs until Windows 7 actually came out, and didn't have big problems with it.
And they
But-
pushed,
but-
pushed updates throughout the beta, so there was like a release candidate update and stuff like that.
And
It
now
was
anyone
very
can
good.
try Windows 8, right? This is open
So
to
it's the
everyone.
same thing, except it's now even a more official thing. It's not called the beta; it's the consumer preview. And back last fall, they had the developer preview, which they had on those tablets they gave out to everyone
Right.
at Build.
That's when I saw it.
Or you could download.
Or you can download, but that wasn't nearly as polished
was
as
rough.
this version is now.
If you download the Windows 8 consumer preview, what
Yes.
happens when it runs out?
what happens
You're-
when it
you
runs
have to
out,
install
you have
another
to
OS.
install it again. There's no upgrade process from the consumer preview.
But can I just go back to 7?
You cannot.
No.
No.
Oh.
You have to.
can't. It's
So
irreversible.
you back up everything, and then you have to restore to your backup, which means that then.
So you are kind of making a commitment by
Yeah.
trying this thing
Yeah.
out. All right.
Yeah, but they are confident enough in the software to say that you can use this as on a PC that you use every day.
Okay.
So it really, obviously, it's to get people accustomed to the new start screen. And I have installed it on this ThinkPad, and it's not a touchscreen, unfortunately. But what's interesting to me is I got to use it to see how it works as a Windows 7 replacement. So,
What do you think?
does it get in the way of the desktop experience I like, that I want to use?
How's the new start screen?
And also I tried to, but actually last night I used it more as just the start screen. I tried to state only the start stuff,
Yeah.
did only Metro apps, only Internet Explorer.
Because that was a big question, right? Can you live just in that environment?
And I'm going to say on with a keyboard and mouse, no. If it was a touchscreen, absolutely. And what it made me want more than ever was a tablet, maybe running ARM, maybe on x86, that was thin and light, maybe not as light or thin as an iPad, but with the Metro, with Windows 8.
What makes that Lenovo laptop with the I can't remember what it was called, the Yoga, with the flip back screen much more interesting?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and like we said before, that it could be
convertibles.
really good
Yeah.
for more transformer type products.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're probably planning on doing a quick look video after the
if I can
podcast.
still stand,
Maybe it's a half an hour video to just go over all the Windows 8 features. So obviously a lot of you are listening to this audio, you can't see this. But if you're a desktop user, whether it's on a real desktop or a laptop, Windows 8 is going to take a lot of getting used to. Like your start button, if you're on the desktop, your start button is not going to get you to...
I can't see what you're doing. So
the start button isn't going to bring up start menu. There is no start menu.
It takes the start menu is the start screen.
Is the start screen. So, and that's the paradigm you have to think of. Instead of being on your desktop and pressing the start button, and you get the pop on the bottom left, it just flips you over to the start screen, which has shortcuts to all your apps.
Is it fast?
It is very fast.
So,
but it still takes up your entire screen.
See the when you talk about Metro and then the traditional desktop. What I'm imagining is, and this is the fantasy scenario for me, is a laptop that looks much like this, and I'm in the desktop.
Yep.
And when I pull this out and take the top half away and it becomes a tablet, it just auto switches into Metro and becomes the interface that's appropriate for that.
You know what, Gary? That's going to happen.
I
guarantee you 100% there will be that product out when Windows 8 comes out.
But is there a way, presumably there's a way that Windows 8 would support that when I detach it, there's a hardware decoupling that the software detects and flips it into Metro mode.
What will be is that the hardware will be on the screen.
Yeah.
And the keyboard will just be an extra battery.
It'll be like the Transformer Prime.
Yeah.
Right.
So ASUS will have something like this. Is my best bet.
Too.
Right.
The thing that is interesting though is that you'll still have the Metro when you're in the desktop mode too.
Yeah.
Because it'll still pop up when you press the start button or try to go to...
Yeah, but normally saying if he's using a mouse and keyboard, he probably doesn't want that.
Yeah, but you don't have a choice. That's how you launch apps.
Right. No. Well, you can launch apps from the desktop. You can still have your bar.
Okay.
Right. But you can still have shortcuts on the desktop. So in your day-to-day, I mean, when you use Windows, I don't know how much you use Windows now, Gary, when do you hit the start button?
What I do when I want to launch something is I press the start button and I type the first couple of letters.
You just search.
Mash enter.
It's a search.
I literally haven't clicked
so
the
my big
program
fear
in 2 years.
My big fear was that was going to be gone in Windows.
No, they
8.
said that was going to be there.
Still here. So I hit start. I don't get a start menu. It's the start screen. Once I start typing, whether it's Notepad, and that's what I use it for. I type in Notepad and it's there. Press.
Why don't you just have Notepad pinned to your taskbar?
Or I can have it pinned to my taskbar.
Because that's the thing. I hardly ever hit the start button anymore because the things that I use are all just pinned to the start bar or I have desktop shortcuts.
Yeah, it's interesting. One of the things that I've found over the last 10 years is the number of applications that I use on a day-to-day basis has gone way down.
Well, yeah, especially if you're using your PC like me as basically like an HTPC gaming.
Yeah.
So all I really need is Steam, a web browser, a couple of other bits and pieces. I don't have a great amount of depth. Obviously, people that use their PC for productivity machines or whatever, they are going to want to have that to be able to drill deeper.
When Steam releases their 10-foot interface, you're going to set your computer to boot straight into that, and then you're never going to see Windows again.
Yeah.
The search stuff in Metro works really well. So before when I was typing
that's been really good since Vista, in fairness.
Well, in Metro, I'm saying the search in Metro, the interface.
Okay.
So if I type in whether it's Notepad, right, it'll not only show me how many apps are named Notepad, how many settings have the word Notepad in it, or how many files have that in it.
Oh, okay. So what if you just type pad? Does it pick up WordPad and the other stuff too?
So again, if I type pad, no apps, it doesn't have that.
Oh, so
And
it only does the first letters.
Yes.
Oh, lame.
But in settings, there are 5 things with the word pad in it. And so you do get access, like if you want your task manager, if you want the disk management stuff, you can still access that from Metro.
That stuff has been there since Vista, though. I mean, you could
Metro,
could search within Control
I know.
Panel.
I'm saying that isn't taken away with Metro.
Oh, right.
And
Well,
which is the
they
fear.
said no. They said that at Build. We knew that wasn't going to go away. It was in my
implementation
story. If you'd read that, Norm.
Worried me a little bit.
Okay.
And the implementation is fine right now.
What
there
other
are
stuff?
changes to Explore on the desktop.
Okay.
They have ribbonized the top interface a little bit.
How do you like that? How does it hold up on the laptop? Because that's kind of a low resolution screen, as I recall.
Yeah, so the vertical space, I'm not a big fan of that, but they did change it. I mean, they've announced it before, but the stuff you use most frequently, like properties, getting file properties, and also new folder. Those are probably 2 things.
And
that
you can
use the
that
most.
vertical space you can collapse
You
down.
can collapse that,
Right.
Yeah, but they have moved properties and new folder up to the very top. The Chrome arrow looks a little different. It's a little more boxy now. It's a little more like Metro. It's a little bit aesthetic changes.
You mean the cursor arrow?
No, arrow, like AERO.
Oh,
arrow is
okay.
different. So I missed the arrow that's in Windows 7. I
I
found
like
myself
Windows 7
liking
arrow,
that
yeah.
a lot. And it does look different. There are transparent borders and stuff, but it's
What
slightly
do
different.
you use day to day for your work? Mac or Windows?
And when I'm at the office, I use the MacBook Air. When I'm at home, I use Windows.
Okay, so you're a bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's the same.
Yeah. And I use a Windows keyboard on my Mac, so I have to do the weird Windows as opposed to the command button. But my brain is wired that way now, so it's fine.
I
The
just
thing
changed
that's
my
best-
keyboard to work that.
I used to do that.
The thing that has me really excited for this on tablets, though, is the multitasking stuff. So the snap left, snap
Do you
right.
think that's actually good?
Doesn't work for all apps right now.
Yeah.
For example,
This is where it puts 1/3 of one app on the side
so
and 2/3.
I'm going to give you 2 examples where it actually works well: music, and also and messaging.
See, this stuff to me when I saw it, when I used it in the developer preview, I haven't spent any time with this because I left before it was installed yesterday. When I used this in the consumer preview, the developer preview, it felt like the Explorer enhancements that they made for like music folders and photo folders, the stuff that you never use.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever played music from inside
From
the Explorer
Explorer?
folder? No.
No. And they spotlight that now in the photo stuff. Like now they add, that stuff has kind of been there.
Yeah.
In Windows before, where like if you open a folder and it knows that there are pictures in there, then it'll change the displays to show thumbnails as opposed to details stuff. Now it's they have a separate pane for previews, and it's just more signposted. I don't think that's enough to get me to upgrade if I was solely using Windows on the desktop to upgrade from Windows 7 to 8. But from the tablet perspective, I think the tablet implementation and the Metro implementation is much better in some ways than iOS and Android.
So if you want to install this and try it out yourself, probably the safest way to do it is to install it in a virtual machine, download VirtualBox or something like that, which is free. The guest editions for the VirtualBox install won't work, but if you set it up as a Windows 7 machine, my understanding is that it should just install and be fine. The other thing you can do is put another hard drive in, make a new partition, whatever, and dual boot. I don't. In a world where the computer boots in 8 seconds, I'm not a huge fan of dual booting. I just like to go all the way one way or the other. But regardless, before you install this, if you're installing on a machine that you have data on that you want to keep, back everything up first, because it's gonna even if you upgrade, there's no going back. You can't restore back to Windows 7.
Yes, and it will let you import all your programs though, because basically the desktop stuff is just Windows 7.
Yeah.
So all your programs will be there, all your personal files.
That machine had 3 things I think that it said it wouldn't run. It was all the stuff that came from Lenovo,
right,
that controls battery life and stuff like that. So
I don't see myself using Metro on a laptop or on a desktop. I mean, the full screen, the borderless, Chromeless browser stuff, it looks cool, but it just feels very limited because it's mainly for tablets.
Well, and the other thing about that is that I don't like IE very much. I mean, I like using Chrome because it has my bookmarks synced and all that stuff.
I mean, that stuff is, there will be IE syncing. I mean, I think it's...
Well, but there's not going to be plugins. Like, I won't be able to install 1Password in the Metro version of IE because they're not going to support plugins in it, right?
Just fundamentally, the presentation doesn't gel well with me. Also, probably driver problem, but 2-finger scrolling doesn't work.
That's almost certain.
Yeah.
That's what the trackpad driver is one of the things that said it didn't work. You might be able to turn it on though manually. So yeah, like if you want to try this out as your day-to-day, my advice is to wait until the next time they update it. They'll probably in 2 or 3 months. If this is coming out in August, they'll update it probably once or maybe twice between now and then. And I would say around May is the time to think about using it as day-to-day. That's when I found it was safest.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did the Windows 7 one and I did that from the beginning and ran Windows 7 an extra 9 months. It wasn't really safe for day-to-day use until the RC update. So
It's weird to have an OS come with a desktop OS that comes with a Maps application.
yeah, that is weird, right?
Yeah, because you think of that for the mobile space.
Well, that was going to happen regardless because they're pushing Bing Maps. Anything else you want to talk about on Windows?
I think we're going to save all the presentation stuff for when we do a quick look video because that's just easier to show people.
Okay.
But my first impressions are that I like it.
Cool. PhotoStream. So you did a thing. You've been writing about Sony's Wi-Fi camera.
I've been writing
You've
about
been doing
PhotoStream in
Wi-Fi.
general. I've been pushing PhotoStream as my favorite thing in iOS.
I think that's fair. It's one of my favorites. It's high on the list.
Right.
Yeah,
for
it's
me.
good.
And I want to talk about that commercial. Did you guys see that during the Oscars? I think they ran it during the Grammys also. Google ran a commercial.
Yeah, basically their version of PhotoStream.
Right. And if you didn't, because they only it was only apparent that it was a Google ad at the very end, and it told like a great story, like a father who took lots of pictures of his kid, and he lost his phones, and he was like, "Oh, what? I lost my phone because all my pictures are there."
Yeah. This is
and
a guy who
it's something
apparently
you can easily relate
never
to.
syncs or backs up his phone.
Exactly, which a lot of people don't.
Right.
But he realized then all his phones they were saved automatically, and I'm like, wow, this is the best PhotoStream
Yeah, it's a good
ad I've ever seen.
It was a good sell.
And then it turned out to be it was a Google Plus.
Yeah,
instance
because they have that
sync.
feature now
Yeah,
too.
I saw that. Well, they've been doing that. Android phones have been uploading your pictures to Picasa for a long time.
Yeah, but now they're doing it.
Now they'll update it to a private album in Google Plus.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yes.
Picasa albums and Google Plus albums are two sides of the same coin, is my
I
understanding.
mean, it's a great feature. Google does it well. iOS does it well. Cameras don't do it well.
So when we saw that ad, Gina said, "Hey, so what's happening with Google Plus?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Well, nobody uses it anymore." Gary, you still use it, right?
I still use it.
Yeah, she
but
said
I continue to have very mixed feelings about it. I feel like I could get bored of it at any time.
does it feel like a ghost town that just you and your 5 buddies are hanging out in?
Yeah,
because it's
kind of. I mean, if
empty
I'm being honest, the only reason I've stuck around is because I have a very big audience there.
Yeah.
I have like nearly 1 million people now.
Wow.
And it doesn't really mean anything, I guess. But that's I guess
Even
that's
more
kinda,
than it normally doesn't mean
that's kind of
anything.
seductive. It feeds my ego, but I still don't think it's a very good social network.
Right.
It feels
Do you get
very,
a lot of response when you post something?
Yeah, but most of them are incomprehensible.
So it's all spam? Or
It's not.
just-
There is a lot of spam. Although there's a Google Chrome extension for Google Plus called Nuke, which is fantastic. If you wanted to block and report a spammer, you used to have to click through like 5 different buttons to do it. Now you can just press one button and it happens instantly. It's one click blocking and reporting, which is great. But again, it's simply that because it's a truly global network. And there was a report recently about Google Plus adoption. There were kind of good news and bad news. Like there was a report that said that Google Plus users on average only spend about 3 minutes on the site per day.
Yeah, it seems a little low.
Which is very poor. But they were saying really good global adoption.
the spammers in China and India.
Well, so India is the number one area where it's being adopted. And so I get a lot of responses that are not in English or appear to be just kind of gibberish, just like the letter K 50 times.
Oh, so it's
like,
just you're not displaying the text right.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Veronica, who's again because she's also a featured user on Google Plus, has about the same number of followers as me. She was tweeting just the other day, like, "What does this mean when someone writes KKKKKKKKK?" Oh, and apparently it's a regional. So like it could. There are different regional variations, different versions of like LOL and stuff like that, and ways of expressing that you like something, but. To us, it comes across as like something we don't understand.
Report spam.
Yeah,
Boom.
so I'm reporting all these guys that are like trying to like my shit, and I'm blocking them all.
Nice, always classy.
So far as the picture uploading thing goes, I went into my my private locker the other day to see what was in there, and it actually didn't seem like it had uploaded everything. So maybe I need to change my settings, but it seemed like a lot of stuff was missing.
Well, for me, it's just that I get tagged a lot in photos, and it's never me. It's usually some dude at Madame Tussauds.
I'm going into my Google app right now.
The big thing for me.
Oh, instant upload. Here we go. Okay, it's on. Over Wi-Fi only. Yes. Upload all photos and videos.
So yeah, there
Okay.
is a Google Plus app for
It's just bad.
iOS.
Yeah, shit, it's
lets you have
terrible.
this upload, but you need to have the app running. For
If you ever,
photos to
we
actually
complain a
upload.
lot about the Facebook app. If
No.
you ever want to appreciate the Facebook app, go use the Google Plus app for 5
I think
minutes.
the Facebook app is pretty good
Compared to Google Plus.
The problem is that Google Plus doesn't have an API, so that they're the only ones.
Why
that
don't
are
they
writing
open this
apps.
thing up so we can have like the tweet bot
well,
of Google Plus?
it's
like
hard to
an
do.
app that we'd actually want to use.
It's if they didn't build it from the ground up to be based on APIs, then it's hard to do.
Yeah, it's a shame.
I mean, the reason that works on Twitter is that everything on Twitter is API based. Even their website just calls APIs.
and really,
like
it's,
any other
it's
client.
such a simple service too.
Yeah, there's not much to it. It seems
140
like.
characters. That's pretty much it. You can post a picture.
But the picture thing, the length is arbitrary. Like they could make Twitter could be 1,000 characters. No
yeah, I'm
problem.
saying, I understand they limited that deliberately. I'm saying the way it stands, it is easy to build apps for it because it really doesn't need to do very much. You can take the very, very few things that Twitter is designed to do and make that experience very good.
I couldn't disagree more because the reason I like Tweetbot a lot is it exposes a lot of the functionality that's otherwise hidden in most apps and on Twitter's website even. So the fact that you can go into a tweet and see the details and easily and quickly get to all the retweets or all the replies to.
No, that's what
and
I'm
all that
saying.
stuff.
But Twitter only does a few things, so you can drill down very deeply into those few things.
But Google Plus doesn't do much more.
I guess.
I mean, that's the problem. Is that the only thing it does is lets people write too much.
Right.
I mean, that's yeah. And the app is
So
just grim.
I don't know what the future is for Google Plus. I think it's
They're
in
going
it.
to keep flogging it.
Every like just this week, it seems like there was good news and bad news. Like yes, people are still coming, but people don't spend very much time. But again, you remember Twitter? There was some doom and gloom news about Twitter a couple of years ago, where people were saying like 80% of people that sign up for Twitter never come back, and it was like, oh, this is going to be a fad. But hey, guess what? Twitter is still huge. Bigger
That's
than ever.
always the. I mean, I think there's always people looking to take down whoever's on the big peg, and Google is on the.
Yeah,
high
it's
peg,
people are
always.
constantly. I think the media is constantly trying to rubber band all this stuff to make it interesting.
Yeah.
Right? They want to be able to talk about the horse race, and it's boring when one thing dominates.
Yeah.
So they want to talk about, hey, Google Plus is doing great, and then in newspapers they call it tall poppy syndrome. You grow the flower up tall so you can then chop it down.
Yeah.
And start over.
You know who's awesome?
What?
Brad Pitt. You know who's terrible? Brad Pitt.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah. Hey, Lindsay Lohan's having a comeback. Speaking of tall poppies.
Yeah, she's gonna be on SNL.
Yeah. Weird. Let's talk about. Anyway, sorry. Hold on.
What?
If we're gonna do this again, then I gotta.
I guess so. Well, we weren't that tangentially off.
Well,
Until
Google
you start-
Plus, and now we're
Google
talking about
Plus,
photo
and-
stuff.
yeah, so now we're back to the
basically,
photo stuff.
the thing that I want, and I think that next generation cameras should have this, is some type of photo stream competitor. It doesn't need to be their ecosystem. I mean, they can pay for cloud storage, but I want the next DSLR I buy. It's not going to happen.
It's got to have photo stream. Yes.
Should have, and Apple will never license out photo stream.
No, it's going to go to some proprietary Sony system or
but
something.
I don't want to have a Sony application on my desktop.
You're going to have to download a fucking thing that's going to
Viewer,
rootkit your system
right,
to
like,
shit. Yeah.
like a Sony photo viewer to extract my photos. I just want it to be either
and that
online.
software is always terrible.
So what they need to do is pair up with Dropbox, basically.
Yeah.
Dropbox
Or Flickr.
has
Yeah.
Flickr.
Yeah.
It would be an awesome way to save to salvage Flickr.
I also want, if it's going to be Wi-Fi enabled, I would also like the ability to post to Twitter or Facebook from the phone.
Yeah,
I mean, from the camera.
I don't think that much, because the photos that you're taking on your camera are going to be much like a nice camera are going to be either raw photos or much higher resolution. And so, yes, I understand
But it's terrific to come home from taking photographs and not even have to worry about plugging in your camera, plugging in the SD card. You sit on your computer and they're right there.
Raw pictures
Yes,
are really.
that's
big.
what I'm saying. That's the experience I want. Take the photos, and then they're on, whether it's my
never
phone
having to fool with transferring.
and on my computer. That's where they are, and if they're on my phone immediately, which is how it is with PhotoStream, then I can tweet that, because that's what I
Having
use to
said
tweet.
that, it can be slow, and when you're dealing with very big pictures, like on that new NEX camera that I got,
Yeah.
where you're dealing with very, very big file sizes, I'll fire up PhotoStream, I'll fire up iPhoto, and it will begin importing the photos, but it can sometimes take so long. I'm like, I'm just going to put the SD card in. It's going to be quicker.
Yeah.
So,
the problem, and that's a problem with a lot of camera stuff, is that it's trying to index and recognize what it's already imported. If you clean out the SD card regularly,
yeah.
which a lot of people don't do. They just fill
Right.
up 16 gigs worth of SD and then buy a new SD card. That's not how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to move your photos off, back them up, put them online somewhere.
SD cards aren't good.
Well,
backups.
I have a bunch of photographs on my SD card though, and iPhoto recognizes duplicates and says
Right,
just
but
say
they
don't
still have
import
to
it.
recognize
replicating,
them.
Right.
the active recognizing like 1,000 photos. That's what's taking time.
Right.
So the thing, this has been a disappointing thing for me since the very first the first time I got a smartphone, which was like a singular. It was one of those HTC built Windows Phone 5.5 phones, like the 8125 or something like that. I literally set that up. I was like, oh, it has pictures. It has an internet connection. Why doesn't this just automatically upload to my Flickr account?
Yeah.
And then when the iPhone came out and you were able to, I got an iPhone. I was able to jailbreak it. I had the same thing. I downloaded the jailbroken Flickr app, and I thought, oh, this is just going to upload all. Wait, that phone didn't have a camera, but whatever. I was thinking, oh, this should upload all the pictures that I take on the phone automatically just to the internet and be good. No. The iPhone 3GS, still no automatic. Nobody automatically uploads to Flickr and stuff like that. The Google Plus stuff on Android, the Picasa stuff on Android, and the PhotoStream stuff is PhotoStream doesn't really do that.
That's a fault of Flickr and the people they're not pushing their service partnerships.
Well, but no services do that. Some PhotoStream needs to be a device agnostic thing. That's the point.
Well, it's not going to be because
I'm not saying PhotoStream. I'm saying that whatever PhotoStream, a thing that provides the same service as PhotoStream, would be better if it was device agnostic.
Right. You're talking about people who own their hardware.
SLR and
right.
Yeah.
They're the people who make the hardware. They're people who make the software. The people who make the cloud storage stuff. And if they are all the same, like in the case of Sony, they are all the same.
Yeah.
Or sometimes
Or
you get Apple, where they're all the same, then it should work.
Well, it does. I mean, PhotoStream
Apple.
works really well from Apple to Apple products.
Sony, not so much.
Bummer. Lytro. How do you say that? Lytro?
It's Lytro.
Really?
I've said Lytro, but I've heard it's Lytro.
Yeah, why you think it was hard eye?
Yeah. Gary, you ever seen this? This is that the camera. It looks like a telescope.
Right. And you can refocus it after you've taken the picture. Right?
Yes. So it was created by this PhD, this doctorate guy.
What's Will grinning at?
A comment in the chat.
Okay. You going to share with the class?
No, he's not going to share with the class. He's a man of the chat now. It's like last week. He bonded with them.
Hey, man, we had a good time.
Whatever happened to don't watch the chat during the podcast?
I got to make sure the stream's still running and stuff like that.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm just checking in.
All right.
Making sure audio levels are good. Doing what good producers do.
Lytro first started out as a doctoral thesis about light field technology, and it's the idea that you can take a photo and then refocus after the fact because you use multiple lenses stacked on top of each other.
Right.
So you're basically capturing all of the light.
You're capturing the scene at different levels of depth.
At different levels of depth, and storing that data not in JPEG format, but in a proprietary format where it's pure data, and then you process it after the fact, whether on the camera or on desktop software, and then you can then refocus, and it's
Right.
very
I
novel.
mean, it sounds great.
Yeah. So there's real hardware shipping today. People who pre-ordered first are getting it basically this week, and
Cool.
the reviews went up. It's expensive.
They're not very good, right?
It's $400.
Yeah, that's
First
a
of all,
lot.
it's $400 for this camera that looks nothing like any camera you've seen before.
It looks like a tube.
It looks like a tube, like as if you're looking through a cardboard tube.
Yeah.
Right. And does it need to be that way to stack the lenses at
Yes.
different depths?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the tube isn't even that long. It's kind of like a zoom lens on a DSLR.
So do you
but
look
without
through
the
it like
body.
looking through a telescope when you take a picture?
There is a small LCD
Okay.
on one end and a lens on the other end.
Right.
The forward lens.
Right.
The LCD is 1.5 inches in diagonal, 128 by 128 pixels. And from all reports,
that's a terrible.
that viewfinder is a really, really bad screen. It's a touch screen, but it's really bad for to
It's
preview
128
pictures.
pixels by 128 pixels.
I'm kind of surprised that they didn't just put a good old-fashioned viewfinder and have it so you can put it
But
up
you
to
can't. You can't have a viewfinder because there's no mirrors.
Right,
involved.
right.
It goes straight to the sensor. So
You could put like a scope on top of it, so it's not looking through the sensor, but it's just like, like a gun.
I don't know. But the way to design it seemed really weird. They wanted people to hold it like it was a telescope, right?
Yeah, like a kaleidoscope or something.
Yeah, a kaleidoscope, and then press the top. But the way you're holding it, it's not very stable because it's one-handed use only, really. The pictures themselves are not fantastic, and all the demos we've seen because it includes a way to export.
Dude,
them
use
to
your
Flash app.
flask.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna close that.
I feel like that's pretty stable.
but you're pressing the top.
Yeah, the problem is it's all horizontal, so
It's all
there's going to be a lot of horizontal
weight
play, right?
shift, right? You only have one thumb on the bottom to stabilize, and if you have to press a button on top, yeah, you basically have to hold it from the bottom.
The button should be towards the far end, right? When you're least likely to.
Well,
No, towards your end, so you're least likely to tip the balance on
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
yeah, I don't know.
It just doesn't. There seem to be a bunch of user experience problems with it, but that pales in comparison to the image quality. And the image quality of these photos, especially in low light situations, when yes, it can take all the light in, and you can, but when there's no light to take in, the sensor just.
By the way,
Shuts
for someone who considers themselves to have very good spatial and kind of geometric acuity, I thought it was interesting there that there's a whole kind of bunch of objects on the table in front of you. You were basically looking for something that you could use to simulate a cylinder.
It was open.
And you tried everything. The mouse, the iPhone, the cylinder had to be pointed out to you.
It was open. I didn't want to get tea on me. It's hot.
You didn't make the extra leap.
Yeah, I'd have to close the lid.
Yeah, but once I pointed out the cylinder, the closing the lid part, that came to you quite quickly.
I figured it out.
All right.
Life finds a way, Gary.
This might explain why you're losing bricked.
Oh no. Well,
we'll
get that in a little bit. The photos that you can export from the software are 1080 by 1080 pixels, which are barely over 1 megapixel. The low light stuff isn't good. The shutter takes a long time to process.
All right.
So it sounds like shit.
Doesn't really deliver on the promise.
It seems like a cool technology demo. It delivers on that focusing promise.
Right.
People love it for that. But that's
you basically
spend $400.
You get bad
demo.
pictures that you can focus any way you want.
Okay, so it's a first generation product.
Yeah.
This is an early adopter problem.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's technology that they said that Steve Jobs approached them last year about putting this technology in future Apple products, and so maybe that relationship is still intact, and this will happen.
So down the road you can see the version of this that really does do what, like the good version is there down the road, just not yet.
Yeah.
There we go. So the last piece of news is that next Wednesday there's going to be an Apple event. They sent out invites this week with a picture of an iPad, the calendar date March 7th, and what is said you have to see and touch it.
We have something you have to see and touch.
Yeah.
And the internet, of course, has gone crazy trying to extrapolate things from the wording, from the picture that was shown. I mean, the internet detectives have really
and this is
been
a
going
picture
overtime.
from an email invitation.
Yeah.
Right.
So 72 DPI image, presumably.
Right. But people are really going in there and examining those pixels and trying to figure out, is this a high-res display?
I don't want to talk about that's crazy. Those people are bananas.
Does this mean there's no start button? Does and touch mean haptic feedback? Look at they're measuring the bezel. They're doing all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah. Let's take a couple minutes and run down predictions for next week. I have heard from reliable sources that Sharp isn't going to have their 2048 by 1536 display.
DisplayMate.
Did he publish that?
Yeah, he did.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know if he published it or not.
Yes.
So yeah, Ray Sonora from DisplayMate has come out and said that Sharp their display is not ready for iPad 3. So that means that probably it's going to be an LG display, which means it might not have the same viewing angles and stuff like that because they're not. Is it an IPS display, the LG one? Nobody knows.
But we're probably expecting the flagship feature to be some kind of big bump in resolution.
I gotta
on
assume
the display.
based on the marketing material on the invite that the resolution's going up.
Right.
And the internet goes crazy over like scrutinizing one image, but the scrutiny that did go over this image points to the fact that if you take iPad 2 and take the same photo from that same angle, the screen does not look as nice.
It looks like, but you didn't have to be much of a detective to look at that image of those dock icons and go, that looks higher res than normal.
Yeah, just how much higher res.
That's true. Higher res, the touch, I think either means haptic or that they're getting rid of the home button.
When you say haptic, you mean some type of feedback?
More feedbacky touch when you touch the device.
A vibrating screen.
Possibly even like the vibrating.
Well, and again, though,
fingers.
does it really mean that there's going to be some touch component, or are they just saying the iPad is a product that you touch?
In my experience, when they specifically call something out like that on an invite, it is usually some sort of a tease about.
I'm hoping for active bezels.
So how do you handicap the haptic type rumors that are going around.
I'm really Marco Arment was saying the other day, and I think he's right, that he doesn't think the market's ready for normal people are ready for haptic for an active bezel because he doesn't think that they're ready for gestures.
So you think more likely haptic, less likely active bezel?
I think it's more likely haptic, less likely active bezel.
I'm going to go the other way around. I'm going to say more likely active bezel. And when I say active bezel, I mean like the BlackBerry Playbook where you can swipe from the side.
Okay.
And using that space where you hold the bezel to actually do something with the device, and less likely that the screen will actually vibrate and, provide some type of feedback when you
Now,
touch it.
the smart bet for Gary is none of the above.
And say neither.
Yeah, neither.
And just a higher res screen.
Higher res screen and something else.
Well, I mean, I think the high-res screen is the closest thing there is to a no-brainer of all the rumors.
I think it's
the
done.
touch, haptic, bezel, whatever. I just don't know what to think. So I'm just setting that aside. So that, yeah, you're right. I'm not
Okay.
playing. Not
You're not
placing
going to play
a bet.
that game.
I'm not placing a bet.
So
LTE, I do think that the 3G version will be replaced with an LTE version, because I think you're at a point now where LTE is established enough and considered to be the place where you want to be enough that if Apple doesn't get on the train this generation, it's going to start to look
So
old.
here's the hitch on that is I don't think that there's a modem, and I haven't been able to find out anything one way or the other, but I haven't been able to find anything that exists. I don't think that there's a 3G EVD. There's an AT&T and Verizon compatible LTE universal modem akin to the one that's in the iPhone 4S for 3G.
I don't know.
So what that would mean then is that they're going to have 17 SKUs or 16 SKUs or whatever of this, because they'll have to have Verizon and AT&T specific SKUs.
Well, they had that with iPad 2.
I understand, but they moved away from that with iPad 4 and greatly
You mean
simplified.
iPhone 4?
iPhone 4S
Yeah.
greatly simplified. So there's only
Yeah, but they're
4
different
SKUs.
products. I mean, they had a lot of SKUs before. Maybe they'll just have a lot of SKUs again. It'll be the same thing as before, except with LTE replacing the 3G.
I think it depends on what they think demand is, because if they're anticipating demand issues on the high res screen,
I think they are going to anticipate supply issues
Right.
on the screen. I think that as much as they can try to overcompensate for demand,
Right.
I think they're going to underestimate demand on this.
See, I think that because they're worried about supply on the screen, I think that they're going to skip LTE this generation.
Okay. All right. So there's an interesting point of
so I think they'll
differentiation.
go
I
with
think there will be LTE.
I think it'll have the same universal modem as the iPhone 4S, and that way the only thing
Holy crap.
that way they only have 16, 32, 64 white and black. So they have
I mean,
6
I
SKUs.
guess you could make the argument that unlike a phone, which is
Oh,
heavily
and 3G.
dependent on what the cell radio is in there,
Yeah.
the iPad, the 3G straight LTE component is really optional. You're less likely to be using it every day the way that you would use a phone. Maybe they think, well, we don't really need it.
So
maybe
like-
3G
like
is good enough for this
For
product.
the iPhone 4,
Or maybe the 3G is maybe LTE is only a 64 gig. Maybe there's one
There's a
specific
high
model
end. There's
that
a
has
there's
the
a
high
there's a
end.
That
mega
makes more
glamour
sense.
LTE.
SKU at the
or
end.
or like with iPhone 4, where they released the Verizon version of it, which had different hardware. Mid life cycle, they could do something at the end of this year with LTE.
So
Right.
I think Retina, whatever you want to call it, high res is a lock.
Yeah.
I think LG the 3G versus LTE is a toss up. The high end scenario you just posited, I think, is a good one.
Okay.
I think there's also the haptic versus touch again. I just don't know. I think there is also the possibility of a wild card element, it's just something that none of us have thought of that will surprise us. That's possible. I just don't know what that would be, because that's the whole point of it. We don't know.
We can say Apple TV. We can say
slim possibility.
I wouldn't surprise me if there's an Apple TV.
Siri, what do you think about that? I think that's
I think
that's
Siri.
going to happen.
I
think Siri is a yes.
I think Siri is a phone specific feature.
I don't agree.
I know. We'll find out one way or the other.
Okay, so there's another point of differentiation. I'm fortunate, by the way, to not have to care because I've got my little LTE box.
Right.
I can actually I just get the Wi-Fi.
The thing is, that's the solution. Like if you're in a place where you need that box is $250 off contract, and you turn it on and off as you need it.
I mean, it's actually feeling great. The more devices I put on that, the more I feel like I'm getting my money's
Right.
worth out of that little MiFi thing. And the other thing I wanted to say was, so the other rumor that just started on Mac Rumors, I think yesterday, is that there will also be a new 8GB iPad 2, which then becomes their new entry-level cheap version. Now we've talked about this. Like, is the iPad 2 going to stick?
$350 or something.
Is the iPad 2 going to stick around as a lower-end entry-level? Apple kind of bolstering the lower, that lower entry point, opening the market up to people that don't want to spend $500 on a tablet. An 8GB iPad 2, or even just a price drop on a 16 gig, the current entry level model, I think that's very
I
interesting.
see an 8 gig one for $350.
An 8 gig is really, really limited.
Yeah, you can't do
It's
a lot.
3
yeah.
movies.
I think it's more. I think it's more likely that they'll just drop the
I'm just
price.
saying, well, they want to. If they want to use it as a way to, if they want to get more money out of it by selling people movies on iTunes, then I'm just saying, or renting movies on iTunes, you run out of space real quick.
I think it's
I
but
think
when you're
16 gigs is
renting,
small.
you're cycling them on and off anyway.
No, I understand.
But I agree with you about that. 8 gigs is not a lot. Yeah. I think what's more likely to, I think it's kind of a variation. I think the iPad 2 will stick around the same way that they now have they keep the old generation of the iPhone around at a cheaper price.
Yeah.
I think the iPad will stick around, but I think it will stay 16 gig. The other higher end iPad 2s will go away. The iPad 3 will become those. iPad 2 will stick around at 16 gig.
$100 off?
And they'll drop it $100 or something. Yeah. Best Buy's already got them running $50 off because they know they're going to be on clearance.
It's a time short.
Yeah.
I really think I really think that they want to minimize SKUs. I think that they feel like there's too many SKUs.
You don't see the argument in favor of the low end, value proposition?
Because here's the thing: when they're launching a new product, I mean, it may be that they increase SKUs later and they come back in with that. Maybe I wouldn't come back in with that, but after they run out of stock on the existing iPad 2s, they come back in with a low end 16 gig one or something like that. I don't know. I think that $500 is where they want to be on tablets. As long as they're selling 50 million a year, I think they want to sell
50 million over
35 million a year.
This to me
they're
is
going to sell $500 tablets as long as they can.
This to me is the one that I'll bet you on. I won't bet you on haptic. I won't bet you on LG versus 4TE. But if you want to have a sportsman's bet on any one element of it, the one where I feel like we clearly differ is that
the bargain version.
I believe if there's one thing that's really unknown that I feel strongly about is I think that there will be an iPad.
I'll even give you the easy bet.
Low end.
I'm going to say that there won't be a normal SKU like a non-refurb SKU under $500 or under $499.99.
Okay,
whatever.
All right, so take the 8-bit 16 gig part out of it. Just I'm just saying in general that there will be an entry level iPad 2 that they will continue to manufacture, and that will be the cheapest one they make. Yeah, that's what I think. And you're saying no. You're saying the iPad 2 is going to go away completely. And the entry level iPad will be the low level iPad 3.
What I'm saying, I'm not saying anything about what it's called or anything like that, because I think that if they're not going to call it the iPad 2, they'll call it the iPad Noob or something. They'll give it a fun name, so it doesn't feel cheap or old.
No, but they haven't done that with the 3GS.
Yeah, they can rebrand it, but the point is there will be a low end last generation iPad that will stick around.
Yes,
and you're saying
I'm saying that there will not be an iPad under $500. You're saying that there will be an iPad under $500.
Crazy.
New,
10-inch.
Well, but then what happens if the iPad 3s come in starting at $600 and they keep the iPad 2 around at $500? I don't think I don't think that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, then I win.
No, the point. No, okay. I think there will be I think there will be a $399.
Okay.
Last generation iPad that will be the other announcement that they're keeping that one around.
I want to say that I think this is the last major mobile Apple product that will use dock connector.
I think that's probably
because here's the thing. If I'm Tim Cook, here's how I think about it. Yes, we have tremendous market penetration, and we're clearly the number one player in tablets by a mile. No one's even close. But we cannot get complacent. Android did catch up with us in phones. We don't want to tortoise in the hair this. Let's do everything we can to make sure that we're fortifying our position every which way. So iPad 3 is going to continue to lead the charge, but we also want to expand our market to however many people out there might be saying and have been saying for the last couple of years, I would love an iPad, but $500 is a little much for me. Let's open the door to those people because this technology is a year old now. We can afford to drop the price a little bit, access that previously untapped market, and also protect ourselves against any other lower price, maybe inferior tablets, but people that are just shopping on value. Let's not lose that war. Let's make sure that we're covered every which way.
I think that is a very reasonable position for any company that's not Apple to take.
And why do you think Apple doesn't take that position?
Because they've never given a shit about value market.
Okay.
I mean, when they made a value computer, they priced it at $1,000 when everybody else.
How do you think the Nano and the Shuffle and the
those are completely different markets.
And the Mac Mini? You don't think Apple makes once and the Apple TV? You don't think all those are cheap products?
The Mini didn't come out until 2 years until the iPad. I mean, in fairness, you're correct. The Mini came out when the iPod was 3 years old or 2 years old, right?
Right.
Because 2001 to 2004.
Right.
And then the Nano very quickly supplanted that.
Right.
But I think the Nano. In retrospect, the main goal of the Nano was to drive prices of flash media down. Like if Apple had a 10-year mad scientist plan, then that plan was get small scale flash memory into as many products as possible we can do massive volume in, so that we can buy flash memory for cheap, because we want to put that in a phone when we come out with a phone 5 years from now.
All right. Well, we're going to know in less than a week, right?
Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah.
We'll Norm and I will be talking about live. I'm sure you'll be Twitter. It's unclear whether they're going to stream this one yet.
Probably not.
We'll probably be watching live blogs just like the rest of you guys, because we, as is the norm, we're not invited.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. It's more fun to be on the outside looking in anyway. And yeah, I'm just interested to see what they're going to come. I'm
excited.
I'm excited about the end of rumors for like a week and a half.
Yeah.
or
Oh,
2
thank
weeks.
God. And I'm also we can finally move on to iPhone 5 rumors. And
I'm killing your mic.
didn't love the way that Apple has created this perpetual cycle that just
Yeah.
as one cycle of rumors ends, that it's time for the next one to start up. I think the other thing I'm interested to see is like if it's going to be one of these. It's available today, or it probably won't be. Right? They'll probably announce some kind of pre-order.
You need some
date.
FCC. You need time for
Yeah.
FCC approval.
10 days.
Yeah.
That's my.
And as much as I have prevaricated, I think, yeah, I'm probably going to get one.
Are you kidding? If there's a high-res screen, you're getting one. There's no
I mean,
question.
yeah, I mean, why lie to myself? Once I see the screen, the lust is going to kick in, and again, the iPad 2 is going to become the family iPad. I can use this as I can use this again. Yeah, I rationalize everything now. Norm sold me that camera, going, "Oh, you're going to want to take pictures of the baby." I'm like, "Oh, you kind of got me on that one."
By the time that kid is old enough to use an iPad, the iPad 6 will be out. I said this before. I said it. I'll say it again.
No, I'm telling you that my kid's going to be a genius.
Oh God.
My kid's going to be using that iPad day
Have
one.
you bought that Baby Genius shit for him or her, as the case may be?
Baby genius? What's that?
You know, the Baby Geniuses. It's like smart videos for kids.
I don't know
You put
about
on
that.
Gary TV.
I'm going to do it my way. Homeschooled, just like Santorum once.
There, danger.
I sent my kid to college.
Let me ask one more question. I don't know what it was. Oh, 23rd. That's my bet. It goes on sale 5 p.m. on Friday the 23rd.
All right. Somebody should be writing this down.
Yeah.
Friday. Wait, March 23rd is a Friday?
Yeah, indeed it is.
Oh man.
Are
Why,
you
do you have plans for the 23rd?
No.
So
I'm
Norm,
trying to
you're pretty.
figure out my camping gear.
Do you feel like this? You're not questioning this, right? You're going to get one.
Well,
Norm's
I'm getting two because I made one for parents.
Okay.
I promised them one
Oh,
this
that's
year.
good of you. Because you didn't get the iPad 2.
Correct.
Do you still use your iPad 1 much?
Every day.
Really?
So this is going to be
Every
a
day.
nice. Again, you get that benefit of being the double generation jumper when
Which
you
I
skip
have
one
not-
generation, but
I've
then
not done that before.
you reap the dividends a year later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what we've been testing. Let's see. I tested Robitussin DM.
Yeah.
That didn't work at all.
Yeah.
I tested NyQuil Cold and Cough and NyQuil Cough.
Yeah.
Also didn't work. I tested some lidocaine viscous sore throat gargle, which is, I'm pretty sure, the worst thing I've ever put in my mouth. That was
Did you at
horrible.
least get any like hardcore drugs
Fuck,
that
no.
took you to a great place?
They
No?
gave me erythromycin, which has taken me to the bathroom a lot, but that's
Ah.
not exactly what you're looking for.
Ah.
Yeah.
I would have pretended that you had a chronic backache as well as let's get some Vikes.
Well, Gina has a chronic backache, but they just give her hydrocodone for that. But she has refills on a hydrocodone. I've never seen refills on a hydrocodone prescription.
Isn't
before.
hydrocodone just Vicodin?
No, it's codeine. It's a couple of tiers down, I think.
Okay.
It's like Tylenol plus codeine.
Okay.
It's like Tylenol 3 basically,
All right.
but a little stronger.
All right.
I got a props to Cepacol lozenges because those things are the bomb.
I mean, at the end of the day, all that stuff that you take, you know, you're lucky if you get just a mild
comfort,
and you just got to ride it out.
Yeah. Well, the sore throat. There's nothing worse for me than a sore throat because, like, A, I can't talk, which is a challenge for me, and B, it is really, really
The
uncomfortable.
worst for me is that severe sinus congestion where your nose is just feels like it's been filled with cement and there's just nothing you can do.
Now that stuff you can take medicine for, like that.
No, it does nothing.
Try the new stuff because I have allergy problems too. The stuff that actually says it opens your sinus passages instead of just drains, much better.
Like what is that?
I don't remember.
Drains.
Gross.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of the decongestants are much less effective than the passage opening things.
Can you combine them?
Why not? Okay. Yeah. Let's see. I watched a lot of movies.
Yeah,
I
you had
played
a lot of free
of
time.
games.
Yeah.
Well, kind of.
Did you build your blockade runner yet, or is that still sitting
No,
around?
I haven't been. I wasn't able to sit up long enough to do that. That's probably this weekend. I'm feeling
All
real
right,
good about
there you
it.
go.
I kind of want to save it though because it might be the end of my Lego for a while.
Oh yeah, why is that?
Tax season.
Oh yeah. What about a lot of people? I've actually seen a lot of people that are going out and buying Lego with their refunds.
Well, that's
so it kind of swings both ways.
Perfect investment in Gary's bank.
Lego futures.
What have you guys been testing? What have you tested, Norm?
Windows 8.
Okay.
Super preview. Talk about it more when we do a live quick look. Maybe not live.
No, we're not doing it live. What about? Did you spend any time with that $100 Android tablet?
No, because you have it.
The one? No, you have it. I didn't take it home.
I did not take it home.
Oh, then it's sitting on the table.
Oh, you know what? I did spend time with that. Oh my god, the screen is such shit on that.
It's really bad.
It's so funny that the LCD. Okay, so we bought a $100 tablet, and
I bought it from someplace that I had to create like a Chinese PayPal to buy from.
I was including the $100 tablets because I've seen on many websites what's the best cheap tablet I could buy. Oh, it's the Kindle Fire. It's $200. Like no, you can buy an Android tablet. It's a 7-inch tablet, runs gingerbread. So it's a phone basically. It's a big phone with no 3G on it for $100 shipped, $107 or something, and the screen is so bad that if I squeeze the tablet and press on the back of it, the LCD warps.
Yeah, you get the burst of color.
Yeah,
it's you know what? I think it's about right. Like I feel like it's a pretty good product for $100.
For $100.
Hey, have you guys looked into that? AT&T's advertising it a lot on TV right now. It's a waterproof tablet that's supposed to be kid-proof. Have you seen that? They advertise that a lot.
Can we put it in the toilet?
Should the kid be playing with the tablet? And he's like, it's cool. It's that new AT&T one that's waterproof. I don't know if you can immerse it, but it's probably at least splash resistant.
Probably has some type of nano coating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the new thing, right?
Yeah, there were a bunch of those announced at MWC too. There's like 3 or 4 people doing that now. Yeah, I thought that $100 tablet was interesting. We'll do a quick look of it probably next week sometime. Anything else?
Hey, by the way, you know what we didn't talk about at all in news is Raspberry Pi.
Oh yeah,
it went on sale yesterday, the $35
and
version.
Sold out and destroyed all the websites.
Yes,
before
people are pissed.
I wasn't able to even. I was like up and on the thing.
Yeah, you guys have got to get one of those. I may have a line on that, so if I can get you one,
yeah, please do.
I might reach out and see what I can do. Yeah. Because it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a $35 Linux computer, basically.
Yeah.
It looks.
And they're saying there's an even cheaper one, a $25 one.
There's a $25 one.
If $35 is too much, we'll cut off almost a third of the price.
I mean, this could be one of those world-changing products, right? A thing that lowers the price and the entry point to computing to such a low level that it truly becomes accessible to everyone.
Well, we've had a lot of those. Like, we've seen the block computers that Marvell and those guys came up with, the plug ones you just plug into the wall, and it was supposed to build mesh network computing everywhere, and that never took off. I mean, so it really depends on how capable it is and what applications.
The possibilities, I think, are wide open. It's very interesting to see where this is going to go.
Yeah, exactly. Anything else, Norm? That's it. Gary, testing anything?
Yeah, just a few things real quick. Instacast. Downloaded it on your recommendation.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I like it. I don't yet understand why I need it above and beyond iTunes already managing my podcast. It just seems to do the same thing.
If you don't sync your phone with your computer regularly, then this means that I haven't plugged my computer, my phone in, or Wi-Fi synced or whatever in months.
Okay.
Because it's better, it downloads automatically.
Okay.
Basically, I launch the app and it downloads the podcast.
So I don't have to worry about having the latest. It's always going to go grab it.
And it doesn't crap up my computer with them too. Because I looked at my podcast folder at some point last year and it was like 6 gigs or something like that.
Yeah, I've been listening to more podcasts lately, so I'm going to continue to test it. Yeah. So the Logitech C615 webcam, which is in use right over there. I asked you for a webcam recommendation. Yeah. That's what you gave me.
It's a great webcam.
Terrific. $50 on Amazon. It's $80 MSRP, but I found it for $50 on Amazon.
Yep.
What I did was to test it out. I clipped it onto the top of my iMac, which is kind of weird because with a regular. You don't expect to see webcams on top of iMacs because they have them all built in.
Does your iMac doesn't have a 720p camera, does it?
I don't know. I think the new one does.
Yeah.
The one I have doesn't.
Yeah.
Because it's a 2009 model. So I put them next to each other, fired up Photo Booth, and just hot swapped the two cameras back and forth. And the Logitech camera is the clear winner. So I've been using it to do a little bit of webcasting. We did some Lego building. I built some stuff, and Norm came over and we built some stuff on Saturday. And I also learned how to use Flash Media Encoder to get better results. The problem was I got bad advice on how to set my settings on Flash Media Encoder. I basically was told to set my resolution way too high, and it ended up creating this really choppy frame rate. So what I'm going to do from now on is basically copy the settings that you use here for the video podcast.
Yeah.
Which is 640 by 360, Like I said, your idea was good. Just screen grab your settings, send it to me, and I'm just going to copy those, and that's going to be my any future webcasting I do is going to be done using those settings and using Flash Media
I mean,
Encoder.
we're blasting out a full 30 frames per second here, according to the machine. So
Yeah.
I mean,
and you don't need that super high resolution.
No, well, there's a lot. The thing is, frame rate is more important than resolution. It turns out.
Right.
This is like what Mark Rain was telling us at CES. You know, the people care more about an even frame rate and image quality than they do about resolution.
Yeah.
Or image.
That's why some of the people have been complaining about the Vita playing Uncharted, saying the game looks great, but the frame rate shit.
Yeah. Have you bought a Vita yet?
No, I never will.
Really? Never.
Well, again, they would
you said you were never going to buy a 3DS.
They would have to put some pretty amazing games on it.
Well,
which may happen, but right now I just don't see it in my future. But the other and it also came with some Logitech recording software, which I tested out. And when you record, it definitely, it's not in any way bandwidth constrained. You can record a really high quality 720p or 1080p video, and then upload that to YouTube or whatever. So if I ever decided to do, I guess, a video blog or something that doesn't necessarily have to be live, but you want it to be good quality, put it on YouTube later. And it has one clip updating to YouTube and Facebook, whatever. It's for $50. It's one of the better.
What is this? Sorry.
What? It's just the webcam software that comes with the camera.
Oh, that comes.
It's
with
Logitech, so it's shitty software, but you can record a video.
Yeah.
In much better quality than. So they say 1080p, but it's only going to go up to 720p when you're streaming.
Yeah.
But it will do full 1080p. If you're just recording offline and then posting it somewhere.
I mean,
later.
it's still a webcam sensor and a webcam lens, so there's still going to be noise and stuff like that. But as $50 webcams,
and
go,
there were
these are
better
really
ones.
good.
There are better Logitech ones up the scale if you want to spend more money. But I didn't want to go mad. $50. I just wanted something better than the iSight camera than I had been using. And it was a good purchase for $50.
I used to have one of those, the original iSight, the FireWire one with
the little cylinder that's on the top.
Yeah, I really liked that. I thought that was a really nice design for a camera. I wish they'd come back. I wish they'd revisit that with a actual good sensor inside. I think that would be a really good product.
Yeah, like iSight Pro if people wanted to get better quality.
Yeah, 1080p with a real high quality CMOS sensor, like an iPhone type CMOS sensor.
Yeah. What else have I been testing? So I had a new security system installed, which is very high tech. It comes with an iPhone app. I can arm and disarm the security system in my house.
Seems like a terrible idea.
Using the iPhone.
Wait, so is it does it have a camera, or is it?
No, I didn't go mad like that, but
like glass breaking sensors and stuff like that.
Well, all the doors and windows are alarmed now in my house. So if somebody breaks in, I get an alert.
The Fortress of Solitude?
Yeah, and I can also what it really allows me to do is just arm and disarm the system while I'm away. So if somebody needs to, let's say I've got a house sitter coming to feed my fish or whatever, I can, and I know when they're coming, I can disarm the system when they come, and then rearm it after they leave. They don't have to do anything.
Push notifications when smoke alarms go off and stuff like that?
I get all kinds of notifications.
That seems like it would be annoying.
I mean, every time someone breaks into my house or there's a fire,
false
but
alarms,
hopefully
but you're not getting false alarms.
Well, but that remains to be seen. So we also have a motion sensor.
Don't you have a cat and a dog that live there?
Yeah, but the dog's not, for reasons that I won't bore you with, the dog's not a problem. The cat is an issue because the cat jumps up high on things.
Oh, okay.
But they set it in such a way that they said they don't think it'll be a problem. But we're in test mode right now. We will see if it's a problem or not.
Okay. Huey could derp that alarm on just wagging his tail.
Yeah, they said that the alarm is good up to like an 80-pound pet.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's why we're in test mode right now.
Zooey weighs more than 80 pounds?
No, Huey does.
Oh, okay.
The cat doesn't, but the cat climbs up on things.
To say that is a really fat cat, man. You might want to cut back a little bit.
Like I said, we're in a 7-day test right now. And we're going to see if the cat accidentally sets anything off. And what you can do is, even if you don't have it set to like call out to the cops or whatever, you can go home to your ADT, whatever it is, website, and it will tell you everything that's happened. Like this door was opened, or this door was closed, the motion detector was activated, whatever. So you can see a little log of everything that happened while you were away.
This is too many metrics. I used to have an alarm. Have you ever had an alarm, Norm?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I never paid for the monthly service where
you just wanted something that made a big noise?
Some big noise.
Yeah. It's always been my policy as well. I installed alarms for a little while. It was a really terrible job. Lots of crawling in crawl spaces. Yeah, it was really gross.
It's all wireless now. It's pretty amazing. Everything gets sent out via a little hidden cell phone box.
But how do they charge this? Do you have to change the batteries and the sensors?
It has batteries, but it's also hardwired into the electricity supply.
Oh, okay.
And the sensors in the windows and stuff. That's all.
Yeah, so there's all the
Yeah.
points of entry have little magnetic sensors on them. So if your contact is broken,
Yeah.
So you have to change the batteries in those sometimes, I assume. That.
I'm not sure how that works.
Okay.
I'm just gonna hire some, tiny people, gymnasts to break into your place.
Yeah.
Under 80 pounds.
Yeah.
Hire some sneakers.
Right. Or get a robot dog. So yeah.
Well, I have a real dog already. He just barks a lot.
No, I'm saying get a robot dog to rob the house.
Okay.
Like the thieves would use a robot dog because then it'd be under 80 pounds. This doesn't make any sense.
There was something else I was testing, but now I can't remember what it is.
That's okay. We'll talk about it next
No,
week.
that was it. Flash media. Yeah, I talked about it.
So that. Well, hold on. Let's do some questions. Shit. I'm all over the place today. I apologize. If you have a question, the email address is podcast@tested.com. Keep it short, under a minute, or 45 seconds is even better. And make sure you listen to it so it sounds good enough to listen. I really enjoyed listening to you guys do this last week. I thought it was quite funny. Because
What?
you walked through the entire, the entire evolution of the podcast question, advice / instruction.
Yeah, and then didn't take any
tips,
questions.
and then didn't do any questions at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
So that was.
We
That
wanted
was
to encourage people to still send the questions in.
That's good. That's good. And we got some good questions this week, so I'm going to play the first one right now.
Hey there, Tested Crew. This is Kyle from Lubbock, Texas, or Jack Daniels on the site. Some quick hometown trivia. The county of Lubbock is the largest cotton-producing place in the world, so a good chance the cotton in the shirts you are wearing came from within 50 miles of my house. As for my question, why does searching email on the iPhone 4 suck so much? I link my mail app to Gmail and it never can find any emails or contacts when I search. I always hit search on server and it never brings up anything. Is there a better way to do email on the iPhone 4? Finally, a quick never have I ever. This one is a bit gruesome, but would you rather die by being burnt at the stake or be fed first into a wood chipper with the understanding that the time to the loss of unconsciousness would be the same either way? Love the show and really enjoying the bricked endurance run. Go Team Norm.
I'm not even doing that. Would you rather? Because it's way too sick.
It's really,
Yeah.
That's
Plus,
fucking.
if you're
That's a deranged mind
if
at
you were
work there.
put in head first into a wood chipper, that's instantaneous.
No,
Yeah.
I think he's suggesting. I didn't even want to get into it. It's appalling.
Head
Yeah.
first is better than feet first.
Head
Though.
first
We can
is
agree on that.
I don't
right?
know what's wrong
If I was
with.
burned at the stake, I want to be burned upside down.
No, that doesn't make a difference.
What?
Then you just be uncomfortable.
the
while
fire.
you're burning
The
to
fire comes from below.
Yeah, but
it's
it-
hotter.
death.
yeah, your
might-
brain
yeah.
would melt quicker.
Yeah.
I said I wouldn't do this. I don't know
Good
what the
policy.
problem is with search on.
It works and then it doesn't work and then it works
When
and then
it-
it doesn't
when it-
work and then it works. And then
I
it
have
doesn't
the
work.
I have the Gmail app for iPhone. Anytime the iOS mail app, the default one, acts wonky, whether it be search or for whatever reason, sometimes it fucks up. I go to the Gmail app as purely as a backup, but it's good to have it.
Yeah. For a while it worked if you connect to Gmail with Exchange support rather than with the default Gmail setting in Mail when you set up your contacts, when you set up your Mail account. That typically works better, although it still seems up and down. Like sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. The other thing that's happening is Sparrow is coming out on iOS pretty soon.
Oh, I'm sure
And
people will like that.
That should work.
That's very popular on
because it's fucking
desktop.
awesome. Yeah, it's the
Probably
rad-
won't be free for people who already use Sparrow.
No, you're gonna have to pay for it, but support the small developer. It's funny because Sparrow was the thing that was the impetus for me writing that column a couple weeks ago.
Why is
before I
Sparrow
got
better
sick.
than the default mail app on Mac?
Because it supports it's Gmail specific. It supports tags and labels, what they call tags, and search and all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. The spam functionality works right. The archiving works right. All that. It's a very good app.
Okay.
Yeah, I wrote about why I've moved away from using web clients for almost everything except for Google Docs now.
I mean, so my advice would be look into Sparrow when it comes out. In the meantime, do what I do. Put the Gmail app on your phone as a backup, and if you're not getting the results you want, use that instead.
That Gmail app is just a web wrapper for shortcut.
It's not
to
bad,
Gmail,
though.
but it's not bad.
Yeah.
Playing another question.
Hello, testicles. This is Ryan from Toronto. Fun City Trivia. We have the only full-size castle in North America in the middle of our city. It's called Castle Loma. You can wiki that if you feel like it. It stood in for the mutant school in the first X-Men movie, which I guess is cool. My question to you is about standing desks. I've been using one of these things for about a year, and I really, really love it. I've even converted a couple of my friends to this, and I'm wondering if anyone there would be willing to try out such an arrangement for a couple of weeks, or if you have already. You definitely need a mat to stand on, or good shoes, and something to put your feet up on that's similar to a bar rail. But even besides the health and posture stuff, I actually just really like it as a way to use a computer. I don't feel like crap in the middle of the afternoon anymore. I feel like I've got a little more energy. And I don't think it's a placebo thing like a Dvorak keyboard. So I'm just wondering if you'd be willing to test that out. The only downside now is that I can't sit for more than the length of a long movie. Otherwise, I feel weird. Anyways, thank you for listening to the question, and keep up the great podcasting.
Anna always stood at her desk, right?
Joey does too.
Yeah.
Anna kind of did it the wrong way, and Joey does it the right way.
What's the difference?
Anna didn't have the footrest and didn't do the mat and any of that stuff.
What are you supposed to do? You can't just stand up?
Yeah, the idea is you have to move your legs around a little bit and like prop up your foot and switch from one foot to the other and things like that, so that you're not just standing square-legged the entire time.
The guy who runs IGN stands at his desk as well. It looks weird at first, but I guess if you do it right, posture-wise and health-wise, I've read a lot of articles about how just sitting at your desk all day is just terrible for all kinds of reasons. I mean, I do it. I feel bad about it.
Yeah. I'm going to investigate. I've been meaning to build a stand like Joey did for his desk for a long time. I just haven't gotten around to it. So maybe we'll do it as a video sometime soon.
All right.
I think it's a good idea. I also want to try zero-G desks. I tested one of those out while we were at CES. The thing where you lay on your back in in a neutral position.
Oh my god!
And the monitor's up above you, but at the right angle.
Yeah,
no.
I think that's awesome.
The Emperor.
Yeah, the Emperor chair, but tilted back. So yeah,
I think if you are going to sit at your desk, as so many people do all day, it's good advice to make sure you get up every now and again and walk around a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
If nothing
you're
else.
supposed to do 5 minutes every hour is what the man says. So that'll do it for us this week. This was there was a lot to talk about.
It was a podcast.
It was a podcast. We're back every Thursday at live in the morning and up on the site in the afternoon. Anything to plug, guys? You're going to be on Twit this week, aren't you, Gary?
I'm going to be on Twit TV this Sunday. They have a new. They've been going for a couple of months now. This show called Game On, which is a video game show.
Why are you talking about video games?
Because
you're not supposed to talk about video games.
Aren't I? Oh, not here.
No, you're
guess
a
I'm
tech
not.
guy. No,
okay,
you're one of us.
That's right. I got to stay in the box.
Yeah.
So I'll be on Twit Game On Sunday night. I think it's like Sunday around 6 they go live, and then they are, you can go to Twit and watch it anytime. So with Veronica Belmont and Brian Brushwood, that'll be fun. And also my episode of Playing Dead, which is the web series that is kind of like a little development diary and interviewing the creators of the Walking Dead video game that I'm consulting on.
Oh, okay.
I think is going live it should be anytime soon. I'll tweet it when it comes out. But there's a cool video interview with me and Sean Vanneman from Idle Thumbs, who is also working on the game, which is pretty cool. So look out for that too.
Speaking of Idle Thumbs, those guys are Remo's moving back to San Francisco apparently, and they're doing a Kickstarter to get Idle Thumbs back together right now.
Yeah, they already went way over their target.
Yeah, I know.
I understand it.
I'm just telling. I know people listen to our show that used to listen to their show, so
Yeah, it's coming back. Next time I see Sean, I'm going to ask him about it because it's interesting.
Yeah, it's awesome. I can't wait for the new show. I saw Brecken posted something yesterday. Yeah. So that'll do it for us this week. Always we love seeing you guys. Thanks for coming in, Gary and Norm. And stay tuned for some fake outtakes. Hi there, I didn't see you.
Lego never gets anything wrong.
They totally screwed this up. They gave me wrong pieces.
Is that a new one?
That's a
I
good
use
one.
That one.
I think we've used that one before.
Oh,
I know. I like it though.
I have one that. This one we haven't used. Sorry.
Okay.
I didn't see you.
Oh man, this is gonna get real long real fast.
Your parents must be proud.
How long do you think you could listen to those on an endless loop before you couldn't take it anymore? Because even
You
the
wanna
second
play another one?
Even the second time, I was kind of like, oh, that music gets. Oh my god.
Okay, I won't do that again. I can't do another one. 2.1.
Yeah,
is
the answer is 2.1,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty much ready to confess anything.
What should we talk about today?
I have a confession to make,
Okay.
which may not be popular.
What did you do?
When I
today?
tweeted about this recently, and Norm may have a perspective on this as well, because this was kind of a little bit of a shared experience to some extent. I have, and I'm not embarrassed to say this. I think there are some people that are gonna go, oh my god, when I say this. I have inadvertently become a bit of a fan of The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, I do have opinions about this.
Norm, let's hear your opinions.
Well, why don't you talk about our shared experience?
Well, so what happened was I just started watching it because it's always on. It's on all the time. It's like seven or eight different cable stations syndicate it now. It's on all the time. If you're
so
just
is Everybody Loves Raymond.
just randomly wandering around, but I've seen those already.
You have a DVR, you have HBO to go, you have Netflix, you probably have Amazon Prime streaming. Why do you watch what's on TV live?
Well, I just started watching it, and you know what? I watched one, and then I watched another. Next thing you know, I've watched a bunch of them. And Norm came over at the weekend, and we built some Lego. And then he also bought some food, and we cooked the food, and we sat around, and we watched some Big Bang. Because I set my DVR to record.
What?
Wait,
Norm, you watch Big Bang Theory too?
Listen to this. Gary set his DVR
This is going to be very polarizing.
to record whatever was available.
I said, just record Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, you're curious.
I'll start collecting
You're a little
episodes so I
curious.
can watch them whenever I want. And next thing you know, I've got the DVR is fucking filled
39 episodes.
because it's recording all of them on whatever station it's on, whenever it's on, and it's collecting them all, and it's always on.
And so Gary was like, "Oh, let's go watch some Big Bang Theory." And we ended up watching
we just wanted
12 episodes.
We just wanted to sit down and watch something that was like
You watched 6 fucking hours of the Big Bang Theory?
We watched a lot.
What is wrong with you?
I think it's pretty good.
I'm gonna rub your nose in it. If the dog had done this, I would take her out in the backyard and rub her nose in something.
I like Sheldon, and I don't give a fuck what you or anyone else thinks.
I have a T-shirt for you, Gary Whittam.
Do you? Does it say Bazinga on it?
No, it's a paper rock scissors Spock lizard.
I don't know that one.
Oh, you haven't gotten there yet.
No, there's probably a couple of hundred episodes of this thing already, right?
it's been on for like 5-6 years.
I've only watched maybe 20 or 25 episodes.
So the problem with the show.
It's great. It's great.
Norm ruined this show for me, just to be clear.
It's grown on me, basically. There are things about it I don't like, but I like more about it than I dislike, and I actually, enjoy it.
Tell us what you like and what you don't like.
Hold on. I want to tell what you did to me first.
Okay.
Because I watched the first, when Gina and I started watching when Gina got me to start watching How I Met Your Mother, which is quite an entertaining kind of formulaic.
See, I don't know how you can watch that and give me shit.
Listen. I said, oh, hey, Big Bang Theory's on beforehand. It's about nerds. Let's watch that. And I thought it was quite funny. And then Norm said, just listen for the laugh track. And I can't hear anything but the... Well, it's not a live... I get it's a live.
There's a big
I don't
difference.
give a fuck. It's the same thing.
But who cares?
I
Did
can't
you grow
not
up
hear
on
it
that?
now.
Did you not watch The Honeymooners and Laverne and Shirley and Happy
How
Days?
old do you think I am?
Well, I don't know, but
I watched Laverne and Shirley and Happy Days a little bit, but mostly like
Did you
Laverne
watch
and
Happy
Shirley
Day and
Brady Bunch that
Seinfeld
show.
and Friends and basically every major show
Seinfeld
prior
had a
to
laugh
like
track, didn't
the year 2000 that had laughter?
It's not about
because
the laugh
they
track.
almost all did.
But what the laugh track brings, because How I Met
It's
Your Mother
the
also has a
abuse
laugh
of
track.
the laugh track
No.
on that
But
Big
what
Bang
the laugh
Theory.
track brings forward is that a lot of these jokes are just not good jokes. Now there are many jokes there that are written for, either to caricature nerds and geeks, and a lot of there are very sciencey jokes in there. But I'd say 50% of the jokes are jokes that are just
They're
bad
just
jokes
sitcom jokes.
that they force,
Yeah.
and the laugh track just calls attention to that.
All it does is... Here's the thing. For a long time, the only sitcoms I watched were Simpsons and Seinfeld. For like probably 10 years, most of the 90s, right? That has ruined my ability to watch most sitcoms.
Why?
Because Simpsons is incredibly dense all the way through from start to finish, or at least during that time period it was.
Right.
So when you have the pause for laughter and then the laughter fills it, it's just too slow. I get bored.
But
Like, I can't go back and watch
Seinfeld,
Cheers
but
now.
Seinfeld had that.
Seinfeld worked in a different way though, because it's the density's right. The problem with Big Bang Theory for me is that the joke density is too low.
It's not, and also half the jokes are patronizing
Yeah.
to people who know the subject matter.
So that
and
I
half
mean,
are not,
the
and half-
the laughter thing is a bigger conversation, and my argument is that I think people in my generation that grew up with sitcoms that always had laughter, it seems normal, and I can watch those, or I can watch The Office or 30 Rock that don't have it. And I think some comedies are appropriate to have laughter, and others are not. They're just built different ways.
I absolutely agree.
But young people, others that have grown up only ever watching of the 30 Rock, Parks and Rec community type generation, to them, the idea of basically being told when to laugh is anathema to them. And I understand that's a generational thing. But going back to the Big Bang Theory specifically, I have very mixed feelings about it. On the one hand, if you told me, hey, there's a sitcom on TV that is pretty good and it's incredibly popular and it's about physicists and comic book nerds, I'd like, really? Like, we should be thrilled that that show exists. It seems unlikely. And yet there it is. But it seems to be very, very split between people that are into that stuff and appreciate it and people who feel that it's patronizing or misrepresentative or talking down to them, making fun at nerds.
Pandering.
And I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a little bit of both.
The Big Bang Theory panel at Comic-Con is one of the most packed panels.
Right, so there's got to be some audience. There's an audience not just out there like in the real world, but like nerds that go to Comic-Con that
Of
do
course.
appreciate this humor. They don't feel they're being laughed
There's
at.
nerds
They love
at
this
Comic-Con
show.
that go to the Twilight panels too.
But it is still very patronizing in that they have the socially awkward nerd and the blonde girl who lives across the hallway. And
yeah, I mean,
romance
and the nerds are really not that evolved from Revenge of the Nerds.
No, they're not.
I mean,
No.
I
the same nerds, except for
it
they've
depends.
kissed girls.
There's 4 of them, right? And each one is a slightly different breed of nerd. And so
There's a nerd, a dork, a dweeb,
and there's a self-loathing
Poindexter.
nerd, and there's
the one that can't talk to women.
Yeah.
and
Right.
It's but anyway,
there's a foreign nerd.
yeah, there's an Indian nerd.
Right.
Yeah, we get it. I think that it can. It's funny. What bothered me the other night when we were marathoning them is that they clearly pay attention to physics,
Yeah.
and make sure that the science is right.
Yeah.
But they don't give a shit about Warcraft mythology. Like their Warcraft mythology is way off.
Yeah.
Like anytime they reference that, I know it's wrong, and
Yeah.
that pisses me off.
Yeah, you right. It's
They
just
have a
series-
Warcraft consultant. If you're
They
going to
should
have
have a nerd
if you're going to have a
consultant.
physicist,
They do have a physicist
Well, they do.
consultant.
They do
But
have
it's not
physicists.
the same.
But they
No.
need
That's
comic.
a person with real
They need
skills.
comic book and nerd culture consultants as well.
And they kind of
and if they
group-
have them already, they need better ones.
they group all the nerd tropes in one. Like they have these
I'm
brilliant,
more than the
supposedly
things I like.
brilliant physicists, but they're also big gamers and also comic book nerds, and it's perpetuating this idea that if you're a nerd, you're all these things.
No one has time
It pissed
for that.
me off when they
No,
were
no
doing
one
they
does.
were doing a fake Warcraft raid, and the guy and the raid leader was saying, "Get ready, we're going to fight the big boss now. Magic users, raise your wands." And I'm like, the wand is the least powerful thing a magic user has. Why would you be raising that?
Yeah.
You don't ever use a wand.
And see, this is why.
And they should never play
Xbox.
Xbox games on that show. They should only be PC gamers.
Yeah, but they get
always-
product placement for Xbox.
They
games,
play a
I'm
lot of
sure.
Wii games because even though no true nerd would actually play a Wii, they can they can dance
They can
around
do
and look
funny
silly
stuff.
playing it.
Well,
yeah.
and girls come over when you play the
Well,
Wii
look,
games.
I kind of like it. At the first, I didn't think I was going to like it because I hated Sheldon, the main character. And then I kind of got what he was about, that he wasn't mean. He just basically has like Asperger's or whatever. Like he has no idea how to relate to people.
Right.
Asperger's. You can't say that word now without me thinking about South Park.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I'm enjoying it, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of comments going, "Oh, how can you watch that?" Whatever. I like it.
I found out the other day that
I've
Gina
warmed
likes
to it.
Family Guy.
See, that's don't
It
even
was
get
not
me
a good
started.
time. I was sitting there, and I was like, "What?" I took Family Guy off of the season pass on TiVo the other day because I thought I must have added it, and then they started recording again. And Family Guy is the same as Big Bang Theory. If you put it on the season pass and you don't specify it to a channel, then you'll get like 50 episodes in 3 days.
That double episode of South Park they did where they skewered Family
So-
Guy was perhaps the best thing they've ever done.
I have to make Gina watch that episode.
Yes,
South
you do.
Park, because she has to understand. She didn't understand why it's cheap and not funny. We've also watched the entire run of Aliens movies while we were sick. That
the
was
quadrilogy.
well, we haven't watched the fourth. We watched the 3.
So you haven't
real
watched the
ones.
entire run.
Yeah, the real ones. I like to lump the
So
Alien
you consider
Resurrection.
you consider 3 a real one, but not 4.
I like 3. I
Okay.
think 3 was much better than I.
I should
remembered
rewatch it.
being.
I haven't watched it since the theater. I've got the all 4, and I
Do you have
watched
the
one-
Blu-ray with the new 2003 cut? Mm-hmm. Yeah, watch the 2003 cut.
Okay,
There's some weird shit about that, but they
I'll watch
take
it.
out,
Yeah, I'll watch the new version.
yeah,
I think everyone should watch all 3 of them before Prometheus comes out.
yeah.
And did you watch that TED Talk, the viral video?
Yeah.
So that was super cool.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Super cool.
Ted's going on this week too.
Well, and this viral video that was timed to release.
Oh, how
with that.
coincidental.
Yeah, they actually showed it at TED.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But yeah, those movies have held up. Like the practical effects and stuff in those movies have held up better than I ever thought that they would.
Practical effects hold up surprisingly well.
Yeah.
It's CG effects that date really quickly.
Well, the things that date those, the thing that was interesting about that is like the way they cast those movies, because Jim Cameron's always been really good about casting women and minorities. It makes Aliens much more modern than say.
Makes it feel like a lived-in world, like a real world.
Well, and it feels in today, it feels like it's much more of a today movie.
I mean, let's not forget the entire culture, the entire thing that exists of like Space Marines, and that we see in Halo and Gears of War. That all came from what Cameron did with Aliens. All of it.
Every trope.
It's all born out of that.
Like you're sitting there, I'm watching that, I'm like, wow, that was in Doom, and then every other first-person shooter, and I mean, but Aliens. Like for such a slow-paced movie, it is really, really tense all the way through. But
and like you said, production value-wise, and the same thing is true of Blade Runner. Right? Like Blade Runner and Aliens could both come out today, and nobody would go, "This doesn't look like it. This looks old." Like it would blow people away the same way today. Aliens is now what 25, 26 years old.
In 81, right?
86. So it's 26 years old, and if it came out today, people would just evaluate it on today's terms and go, "This looks fucking great."
Yeah, I mean, just the stuff that they did with that movie, where they started out the incredibly slow start on the.
Did you watch the director's version?
I watched the director's version with the extra Ripley scenes and all that, because I think that version is much better. Although I do think that the Sentry gun stuff is completely.
Given the choice, I prefer the director's cut slightly, but I don't think there's anything wrong with the theatrical cut at all.
The only thing wrong with the theatrical thing is you don't find out that Ripley had a kid,
which makes the Newt thing kind of nicer.
Makes that make
the
more
Sentry
sense.
Guns are cool, but
Useless.
don't really add anything.
No. It's just 10 minutes of extra filler.
Yeah.
There's a bit where you kind of foreshadow how skeezy Paul Reiser is going to be.
Yes.
But I think that is actually a detriment.
Probably. Is the Ellen Ripley reveal only in the director's cut? Or is that in
which Ellen Ripley?
She says her first name. You discover her first name is Ellen,
know.
but I can't remember if that's added in the director's cut or if that was always in the first one.
I can't remember. The first one I kind of want to go back and watch. Was there a director's version of the first one too?
No.
Okay,
there's only one version.
His version is the director. The theatrical version is that movie holds up unbelievably.
There's another one. Even the original Alien, which came out in 1979, could come out today, and nobody would bat an eyelid.
Well, there were a few things that I noticed that I thought were really cool. One is the way that he transitioned from the 70s costume designs to the 80s costume designs in the opening of Aliens.
Yeah.
Like everybody's haircuts get a little bit more modern and the clothes get a little more modern, and then it starts looking more Back to the Future.
It's a great vision of the future. It hasn't aged at all. And again, visions of the future tend to date really fast as well. And again, Blade Runner and Aliens, both, you don't go, "Oh, this looks so cheesy," knowing what we know now. Like everything still looks good.
It's because they're not sterile. The world is really lived in. I think that's one of the things that really helps a ton.
Yeah.
And then the third one I thought was much better than I remembered. The only places that I didn't like it were that they did weird thing they did a CG alien. It looked like that was just bad.
Yeah, I need to. I'm going to go and watch that director's cut you talked about.
But yeah, it's worth watching. There's weird shit in the director's cut. What else should we talk? I don't know what else we should talk about.
What else is going on?
Aliens.
So, do you want to give a quick Bricked update?
No.
Okay. And that to me is the update. That tells me everything about your attitude. Right now.
No, we're gonna finish it tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow we're gonna.
You think that this will be the last episode tomorrow?
We're thinking that we're gonna do it live tomorrow.
The finish line isn't within sight.
From 1 o'clock until we're done.
Oh, it's gonna be live.
Live.
That's great. I love that idea because that makes it an event.
Yeah.
It should be live.
So we're bringing it home, and then we'll talk about it next week. We'll break it down and deconstruct
because there's definitely been a lot of.
Will doesn't want to talk about it right now.
Okay,
we're not ready to talk about Bricked right now.
There will be a lot to talk about.
There's been controversy.
Yes, there has.
When Norm got hit by that car, holy shit!
Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of controversy.
All I saw was Ginger.
Yeah, I wasn't me, man. I was innocent. I have an alibi. I was with Gina. I take medicine. I was asleep.
No, I got it.
Yeah.
Should I watch the?
I mean, you joke about that, but really, the way you've been going, that's the next logical step.
What? What have I done? I'm the victim here. I got the one with more pieces, and I got the roadblock with more pieces. Holy shit! You've built the X-wing and the TIE fighter. Which one's easier?
The TIE fighter.
And how much easier? I bet I could build the TIE fighter twice in the time it takes to build the X-wing.
Well, the question is, have I built either of them before? Because that would make a difference.
5 times?
The TIE fighter is real easy. I only did it 3 times.
If I had built an X-wing prior, as practice,
Yeah.
and then built a second one,
Yeah.
it would probably be about the same as the TIE
No,
Fighter
I
for
can
the
tell
first
you,
time.
if you build it the first time, it will take about 2 hours.
Okay.
The second time is about an hour and 45, and then if you
Right,
do
so
some
you do definitely
optimization
shave your
stuff,
time.
then you can shave 30 or 40
Right.
minutes off.
And by optimization, you mean forgetting about the rules that were established at the beginning of the
No,
competition?
those rules applied to the original builds, not to the roadblocks. There
Oh,
were
is
no
that,
rules
oh, is
on
that
the
right?
roadblocks.
You
Yeah.
just scribbled that in the margins, did you? That
There-
little addendum?
There was nothing about, hey, at 75%, we're going to have some random shit that we have to do.
Yeah, but I would assume that if there's a rule about how Lego bricks are built, that would apply to any Lego bricks that you build. Not that you can't say, well, this set here it doesn't apply to those rules.
There was no clarification on that from the control room. The decision of the control room.
I mean,
is final.
to be fair, you're not the one to blame here. You're basically doing what anyone would do, which is do everything that you can get away with.
And
Yeah,
so
I
is.
was-
They say play to the whistle. Right? If you don't hear a whistle,
Yeah.
keep going.
It's not my fault that the
And
the
no
ref
one is
taking a nap.
no one is blowing the whistle on you.
Right.
Apart from everyone in the chat,
They don't
and in
matter,
the forums who
it
are
turns
absolutely
out.
apoplectic.
That's fine. It's good for them to feel rage about something. If they really want to feel rage, they should start watching American politics, because American politics are rage filling right now.
And actually mean something.
Yeah, and
Whether or not you or Norm win this Lego building contest is
nothing
absolutely
matters.
irrelevant. It is
Right.
the definition of irrelevance.
our country is on the cusp of electing the fucking Smiler, and
I thought you didn't like talking about
I
politics.
changed my. I'm
We went from I don't want to talk about bricked
Uh-huh.
to talking about bricked in great depth
Yeah.
to now talking about politics, which you
well,
always
you're
say
the
you
one
don't
who
ever
wouldn't
want to
drop
talk
Brett.
about.
Yeah, that's true.
What has happened? We've let loose something.
I am very concerned.
We're not on the verge of electing that guy.
The Smiler.
Yeah, don't worry.
You
about
don't think so?
No, I don't think so. We're not. This country is fucked up, but it ain't that fucked up.
I don't know, man. You guys want to go get lunch?
Possibly. I want to end the podcast so that whatever we do begins immediately.
Now.
I've got to go home and work. I shouldn't even fucking be here.
Oh, okay. You should go home and work.
I'm gonna go home and work, but I also need to eat, so I may eat first and then go home.
Okay.
One
Okay.
way or another, whether I eat at home or eat here, it's all the same to me.
We will see you guys next Thursday. Until
and
then.
tune in to Twit TV on Sunday for more of me.
Yeah, and the live conclusion of Bricked.
And the live conclusion of Bricked, what, tomorrow?
Tomorrow,
That's
1
going to be
p.m.
mega.
You can't come by because you're too busy working, I bet, huh?
Fuck. I'll definitely be watching it live, though.
Okay. Maybe we'll phone you in. You can-
Mate, is there a way I could set up a live audio stream separately so that people could have another thing open where I can live commentate on it? I bet you there is.
we don't need that. That's not something
if
we
anyone
need.
if anyone listening knows how to do that, please let me know, and I will be happy to provide live
The color
commentary,
commentary.
that you can have running over this thing. I'll do it from home.
Terrible idea. See you guys next week.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.